There is an ancient truth, whispered through ages in quiet monasteries and written on scrolls buried by time. It speaks of a power so immense, it does not need to announce itself. The sages understood this secret. The sage acts by not acting, and in doing so, accomplishes everything. This is a profound paradox, a riddle that the modern mind, trained in the religion of effort, struggles to solve. We have been taught to clench our fists, to believe that our will is a muscle, and that to shape our world, we must exert pressure upon it. We push, we strive, we strain. We hold our breath, tighten our jaw, and declare war on reality, hoping to bend it to our liking. This is the path of the clenched fist. It is a path of friction, of resistance, of exhaustion. It is the belief that you are separate from the world, a small warrior fighting a vast, indifferent battle. And it is, ultimately, a lie. Now, imagine something different. Imagine the open palm. Feel the tension release from your forearm, your shoulder, your soul. The open palm does not grasp, it receives. It does not fight the wind. It feels its direction. It does not try to hold water. It allows water to flow through it. This is not weakness. It is a different kind of strength. It is a power rooted in trust, in alignment, in the profound understanding that you are not separate from the universe you wish to influence. You are a part of its very fabric. What if you could shape your reality, not by wrestling with it, but by becoming a current it cannot resist? What if your most significant impact came not from the noise of your striving, but from the depth of your stillness? What if you could achieve everything you desire, not by forcing the doors open, but by becoming the key that they were designed to fit? This is the journey we are about to embark upon. It is not a journey of learning new tricks or techniques to manipulate the world. It is a journey of unlearning, an exploration into the quiet, resonant power of your own being. We will walk together into the art of allowing, the science of resonance, and the forgotten magic of surrender. This is not about becoming passive. It is about accessing a power that is truly active, a power that flows not from the tense muscle, but from the surrendered heart. It is the art of subtle impact. And it begins now, by simply taking a breath and unclenching your fist. To begin this journey, we must first dismantle an illusion, an architecture of belief so deeply embedded in the collective mind that we mistake it for reality itself. It is the illusion of force. It is the gospel of the grind, the doctrine of the hustle, the unquestioned creed that says effort is the sole measure of worth, and that struggle is the prerequisite for success. From our first day in school to our last day in the office, we are taught to push. Push for better grades, push for the promotion, push against our competitors, push against our own limitations. We are told that the world is a fortress, and its treasures are only given to those who lay siege to its walls with unyielding, relentless force. You know this religion intimately. You feel its commandments in your body. It is the tension that lives permanently in your shoulders, a silent testament to the invisible weight you carry. It is the shallow breath you take when another email lands in your inbox, another demand is placed upon your time. It is the low-grade hum of anxiety that has become the soundtrack to your life, the persistent whisper that you are not doing enough, that you are falling behind, that if you were to rest, even for a moment, the entire structure of your life would collapse. You wear your exhaustion like a badge of honor, recounting tales of sleepless nights and back-to-back meetings as if they were war stories, because in this paradigm, suffering is synonymous with devotion. To be at peace is to be lazy. To be content is to be complacent. This relentless drive has become the engine of our civilization, but it is a machine that runs on the fuel of our own life force, and it is beginning to sputter. The burnout, the depression, the pervasive sense of meaninglessness felt even by those who have won the game, these are not individual failings. They are the symptoms of a profound misunderstanding, the inevitable consequence of fighting a battle that was never meant to be fought. The great secret is this: the universe does not reward struggle. It rewards alignment. It does not yield to force. It yields to resonance. Consider your life, your goals, your deepest desires, as a great and powerful river. It has its own current, its own pace, its own inexorable pull towards the sea. For years, you have been told that your job is to make this river move faster, to bend it to a straighter path. And so you have waded into its currents. Picture yourself there now, standing waist-deep in the cool, rushing water. You lean forward, planting your feet firmly on the rocky bed, and you begin to push. You push against the immense, indifferent weight of the water. Your muscles scream in protest. Your teeth are gritted, your face a mask of grim determination. You are applying all of your will, all of your strength, all of your focus to the impossible task of shoving a river. What does the river do? Does it recognize your effort? Does it applaud your tenacity? Number. The river simply flows. The resistance you feel, that immense pressure against your hands and chest, is not the river's aggression. It is the simple, neutral law of physics. It is your own force being met by the river's nature. You are not fighting the river. You are fighting your own idea of what the river should be. You are at war with what is. And in this war, there is only one possible outcome: your own exhaustion. You may stand there for hours, for days, for years, pushing with all your might. The river will not speed up. It will not change its course to suit you. It will only continue its journey to the sea, and you will be left, shivering and spent, cursing the stubbornness of the water, feeling like a victim of its power. Now, look at your life. Where are you pushing the river? That project at work, the one you are trying to force through on your timeline, against all signs of resistance from your colleagues or the market. That is you pushing the river. That relationship you are desperately trying to mold, trying to will another person into being the partner you have imagined, ignoring who they truly are. That is you, waist deep in the water, straining against the current of another's soul. That personal habit you despise, the one you fight with shame and self-flagellation every single day, only to find yourself succumbing to it time and again. That is you, trying to dam the river with your bare hands. In every one of these struggles, the resistance you feel from the outside world is a perfect mirror of the force you are applying from within. The closed doors, the bad luck, the frustrating delays, the people who won't cooperate, these are not random acts of a hostile universe. They are the river's neutral response to your pushing. The universe, like the river, operates on laws of flow and least resistance. When you apply hard, rigid force, you create an equal and opposite counterforce. Your own tension becomes the obstacle. Your own desperation signals to the energetic fabric of reality that you are in a state of lack. And so it gives you more experiences that match that vibration of not having. You are, in effect, creating the very friction you are trying to overcome. Why are we so addicted to this futile effort? It is born of a deep-seated fear, a foundational belief that if we stop pushing, we will be swept away and drowned. We believe that our constant vigilance is the only thing keeping chaos at bay. We fear that our worth is tied to our struggle, and if we were to let go, we would be revealed as unworthy, as insignificant. The ego needs a battle to feel alive. It needs a problem to solve, an enemy to conquer. And so, it convinces you that life itself is the adversary. It tells you that to surrender, to let go of the pushing, is to give up, to lose. But letting go of the struggle is not the same as letting go of the destination. Giving up force is not the same as giving up power. The true masters of life, the sages who understood the river, do not engage in such a foolish fight. They do not push, they navigate. The first act of wisdom is to get out of the water. It is to walk along the bank and simply observe, to study the currents, to notice where the flow is swift and deep and where it is slow and stagnant. They understand that the river's power is not an enemy to be conquered, but a resource to be harnessed. And so, instead of pushing, they build a vessel. This vessel is your state of being. It is your inner alignment, your clarity of intention, your peace of mind. They do not try to change the river. They craft a boat that is worthy of the journey. Then, and only then, do they place their vessel in the water. Their action is not to push from behind, but to use a small, elegant rudder to steer. This is the difference between desperate action and inspired action. The river provides the immense, unstoppable momentum. You simply provide the subtle, intelligent direction. The energy expended is minimal, yet the distance traveled is vast. This is the way of effortless power. It is the shift from being the exhausted engine to becoming the serene navigator. So, the first step on this path of subtle impact is a radical act of courage. It is the willingness to take your hands off the river. It is the decision to stop the pointless, heroic struggle. It requires you to question the most fundamental assumption of your culture, your upbringing, and your own ego. It asks you to entertain a revolutionary idea. What if the key to moving forward is to first become still? If we are to stop pushing, what then? Do we simply stand on the bank, passive and adrift? The cessation of force is not the end of action. It is the beginning of true action. But our next move is not outward. It is inward. Before we can learn to navigate the river, we must first find the silent mapmaker within us, the one who is never at war, the one who has always known the river's course. We must turn our attention away from the roaring water outside and listen for the quiet, unshakable center within. For it is from this place, and this place alone, that real power is born. You have stepped out of the river. The frantic pushing has ceased, and you stand on the bank, water dripping from you, your breath slowly returning to a natural rhythm. The roar of the current is still in your ears, a memory of the struggle. A question arises in the quiet. What now? If force is not the answer, what is? Now begins the real work, which feels, paradoxically, like no work at all. It is the discovery of the stillness that commands. Before you can understand this stillness, you must first become intimately aware of its opposite, the ceaseless noise within your own mind. For most of us, this inner world is not a sanctuary of peace. It is a chaotic marketplace of competing voices. It is the tyranny of the thinking mind, a relentless narrator that never falls silent. This narrator is a master of time travel. In one moment, it drags you back into the past, forcing you to re-watch an embarrassing mistake, to feel the sting of an old wound, to dissect a conversation from a decade ago, searching for a different outcome that will never come. In the next moment, it catapults you into an imagined future, painting vivid scenarios of failure and catastrophe. It rehearses arguments that may never happen, anticipates judgments that may never be cast, and builds elaborate structures of worry upon the flimsiest of foundations. This inner voice is like a frantic, insecure advisor, constantly shouting at you. It screams, "You must do this, or you will fail." And in the same breath, "No, don't do that. You'll make a fool of yourself." It criticizes your every move and then berates you for your inaction. It compares you relentlessly to others, to their successes, their beauty, their confidence, always finding you lacking. The actions you took while standing in the river, the desperate pushing and straining, were not born of a calm decision. They were the physical embodiment of this inner chaos. A noisy, fearful mind will always produce a life of noisy, fearful effort. You were trying to quiet the storm in your head by controlling the world outside, an impossible task that only makes the inner storm rage even harder. Now, consider the most powerful and awe-inspiring phenomenon of the natural world: a hurricane. From a distance, it is the very definition of chaos. Winds screaming at hundreds of kilometers per hour, a vortex of raw, destructive power that rips trees from the earth and turns cities to splinters. This is the image of a life lived at the mercy of the noisy mind, a swirling, violent, and exhausting experience. But at the very center of this maelstrom, there is a place of impossible peace. Scientists and pilots who have flown into it call it the eye of the storm. Within this eye, the winds fall silent. The torrential rain ceases. The sky above is often clear and brilliantly blue, the sun shining down into the heart of the tempest. It is a sanctuary of profound calm, surrounded on all sides by unimaginable fury. The critical truth is this: the eye is not separate from the storm. It is the storm's organizing principle. The immense power of the hurricane does not originate in the chaotic winds themselves. It is generated by the pressure differential created by this calm, empty center. The stillness is the source of the power. Without the still eye, the storm would dissipate into meaningless turbulence. This is the model for your own consciousness. You have an eye of the storm within you. It is not something you need to build or earn or fight your way towards. It exists right now as the fundamental ground of your being. It has been there your entire life, patiently waiting beneath the swirling clouds of your thoughts and the torrential rain of your emotions. Your task is not to create it, but to find it, to shift your attention from the winds of the storm to the stillness of the eye. Let us find it now, together. Wherever you are, allow your body to be still for a moment. You don't need a special posture or a sacred space. Simply be. Bring your attention to your breath. Don't try to change it or control it. Just observe the air flowing in and the air flowing out. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. This simple act is the first step in disengaging from the storm. The breath is always in the present moment. It cannot breathe in the past or in the future. It is your anchor to the now. As you rest your attention on the breath, you will notice the storm. Thoughts will arise. Am I doing this right? This is boring. I have so much to do. What was that noise? This is the narrator, trying to pull you back into the chaos. Do not fight these thoughts. Do not judge them or try to push them away. That is the old way, the way of force. Simply notice them, as if they were clouds passing in the sky. Acknowledge their presence. A thought about my to-do list, and then gently, without frustration, guide your attention back to the breath. Imagine that you are the vast, open sky. Your thoughts, your feelings, your anxieties, they are merely clouds. Some are dark and menacing, others are light and wispy, but you are not the clouds. You are the sky that holds them. The sky is never damaged by the storm clouds. It is never stained by their color. It remains vast, open, and serene, allowing the clouds to come and go. In this moment, can you feel that? The separation between the watcher the sky and what is being watched the clouds? As you continue this practice, something remarkable happens. You begin to notice the space between the thoughts. At first, it might be just a fraction of a second, a tiny gap in the relentless commentary. In that gap, there is no past, no future, no problem to be solved. There is only silence. This is the edge of the eye of the storm. Lean into that silence. Become curious about it. Underneath all the mental noise you have ever experienced, there is a deep, foundational stillness. It is not an empty, dead silence. It is a living, vibrant stillness, pregnant with potential. It is the canvas upon which your entire life experience is painted. Finding it is like listening for the silence in a room rather than the sounds. It's always there, as the background, but your attention is usually focused on the noise. This still point is your command center. When you operate from the chaotic winds of the mind, your intentions are weak. They are like shouting orders in a gale. They are distorted, scattered, and lost in the noise. A desire born of fear. I need more money, or I'll be destitute. Carries the frantic, resistant energy of the storm. But an intention formed within the eye, within that silent space of pure awareness, is different. It is clear, potent, and undisturbed. It is a command, not a plea. It is a single, perfectly formed seed planted in the most fertile soil imaginable. It does not need to shout because it is born of the silence that is the source of all sound. From this still center, your perception of the world changes. You see the river not as a threat, but as a path. You can discern the subtle currents, the hidden opportunities, the path of least resistance, because your vision is no longer clouded by the fog of your own anxiety. You become unflappable. External events, the winds of circumstance may still blow, but they no longer throw you off balance. You are anchored in the deep, quiet center of your own being. People will feel this. They will be drawn to your calm presence without knowing why. The drama and chaos that once seemed to follow you will begin to quiet down, because the storm of the world cannot sustain its power around a center of profound peace. You become the gravitational point around which your reality organizes itself. So we see that the end of force is not the beginning of passivity. It is the beginning of a new kind of power, a power that is calm, centered, and immensely effective. But once we have found this silent command center, what then? Is it enough to simply sit in the eye of our own inner storm forever? Number. The stillness is the source, but it is not the final expression. For from this stillness, a new energy begins to radiate outward. It is not a visible light, nor a sound, but a vibration. It is the fundamental frequency of your true self. The question then becomes, how does this inner state of silent command translate into the tangible reality you experience? The answer lies not in doing, but in being. It lies in the energy that you are. It lies in the power of resonance. From the silent center, an energy emanates. It is not an idea or an emotion, but something more fundamental. We have many names for it in our daily language: a vibe, an aura, a presence, a feeling, but its truest name, the name that describes its function in the architecture of reality, is resonance. To understand this principle is to move from the world of force into the world of magnetism. It is to put down the battering ram and to become the key that silently turns the lock. We must first address a profound and common misunderstanding, one that has caused immense frustration for seekers of truth. We have been told to want things, to visualize what we desire, to ask, to pray, to plead with the universe for health, for wealth, for love. But this approach often comes from a place of profound lack. This is the beggar's prayer. When you stand in a state of desperation, pleading for abundance, the words coming from your mouth may say, abundance, but the energy radiating from your core, from your very being, is screaming, scarcity. When you desperately seek love to cure your loneliness, the frequency you are broadcasting is one of loneliness. When you yearn for health because you are terrified of sickness, your energetic signature is that of sickness. And here is the immutable law. The universe does not respond to your words. It does not respond to your wishes. It responds with flawless and impersonal precision to the resonance of your being. The feeling behind the prayer is the prayer itself. Your life is not a result of what you have asked for. It is a perfect reflection of what you are. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. To grasp this, imagine that your entire being, the sum total of your conscious and subconscious beliefs, your emotional home, your physical state is a finely crafted tuning fork. Every object, every person, every potentiality in the universe is also a tuning fork, each with its own unique, resonant frequency. Now, imagine you are in a vast hall filled with millions of these tuning forks, representing every possible experience. One represents sudden financial opportunity. Another represents a chance encounter with a soulmate. Others represent chronic illness, frustrating arguments, unexpected kindness, creative inspiration. They are all there, silent, dormant, waiting. You, the tuning fork of your own consciousness, have a dominant frequency. It is the note that you sound most consistently. It is your habitual emotional state, your background hum of being. Let us say that for a long time, your being has been tuned to the note of quiet frustration. It is not loud or dramatic, but it is constant. So, you stand in the great hall, and without doing anything, without saying a word, you simply are. And by being, you vibrate. You sound your note of quiet frustration into the energetic field. What happens next is the secret of creation. Across the vast hall, every other tuning fork tuned to that same frequency of quiet frustration begins to hum. The person who will cut you off in traffic begins to vibrate. The unexpected bill that will annoy you begins to vibrate. The misunderstanding with a friend begins to vibrate. They are pulled into your orbit, not by chance or bad luck, but by the law of sympathetic resonance. They cannot help but respond to your signal. Simultaneously, the tuning fork of joyful opportunity, of serene connection, of robust health remains silent. They are not for you. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are not a vibrational match. You are living in a C-sharp reality, and they exist on a G major frequency. They literally cannot hear you, and you cannot hear them. This is why two people can walk down the same street and have entirely different experiences. One, tuned to a frequency of anxiety and fear, will notice every potential threat: the suspicious-looking person, the crumbling facade of a building, the sound of a distant siren. They will arrive at their destination feeling stressed and confirmed in their belief that the world is a dangerous place. The other person, tuned to a frequency of peace and openness, will walk down the very same street and notice the vibrant street art, the smile of a child, the beautiful architecture, the scent of baking bread from a nearby cafe. They will arrive at their destination feeling uplifted and confirmed in their belief that the world is a benevolent place. The street did not change. The frequency of the observer determined which reality was perceived and experienced. So the great work of your life is not to run around the hall trying to manually strike all the tuning forks you desire. That is the path of force, the path of exhaustion. The great work is to return to your own being and change your own note. The question is not, how can I get that? The question is, how can I be the person for whom that is a natural reality? The shift is from doing to being. Consider abundance. The person who is trying to get rich is focused on action born of lack. They hustle, they grind, they worry. Their frequency is, I do not have enough. The person who is embodying abundance may take similar actions, but they come from a different source. They act from a place of creative joy, of service, of trust. Their frequency is, I am a source of value. There is more than enough. The universe, hearing these two different notes, delivers two completely different sets of resonant experiences. To the first, it delivers more struggle, more reasons to feel lack. To the second, it delivers more opportunities, more flow, more unexpected synchronicities that reflect their inner state of abundance. This is the meaning of the ancient saying, to him who has, more will be given. To him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This was never a statement about cruel, preferential treatment. It is a precise, technical description of the law of resonance. To have is to be in the resonant state of having. If you are tuned to the frequency of love, you will be given more experiences of love. If you are tuned to the frequency of lack, even the opportunities you do have will seem to slip through your fingers because you are not a vibrational match for holding on to them. The tuning fork does not try to resonate. It simply is its note. Its power is effortless. It requires no strain. Your power is the same. It lies in the state you choose to inhabit from moment to moment. This is why the stillness we spoke of is so vital. The silent eye of the storm is the tuning room. It is the one place where you can disengage from the chaotic, reactive frequencies of the world and consciously choose the note you wish to sound. In that stillness, you can ask, what is the feeling of the reality I wish to experience? Not the things, but the feeling of peace, the feeling of creative flow, the feeling of robust health, the feeling of unconditional love. And you find that feeling within yourself now. Not when circumstances change, now. You locate it in your body, you breathe it into your cells, you allow it to become your dominant vibration, even if for only a few moments. You are retuning your instrument. You are changing your resonant signature. This may sound abstract, but it is the most practical work you can ever do. It is more important than sending another email, making another phone call, or running another errand in a state of stress. To spend 5 minutes consciously cultivating the feeling state of peace is to retune your being to the frequency of peace. It is to begin sounding a new note into the great hall of possibilities. And when you do, the universe, by its own immutable laws, must begin to bring you the people, circumstances, and events that resonate with peace. They have no choice. So how is this done? How do we consciously and deliberately change our frequency when we are so accustomed to our old, habitual notes of anxiety or frustration? The process is not one of brute force or of complicated mental gymnastics. The primary tool for retuning the instrument of your being is the most immediate, simple, and powerful resource you possess. It is the rudder of your consciousness, the creative energy of the cosmos condensed into a single point of focus. The currency with which you purchase your reality. It is your attention, the act of tuning your resonance, of changing the fundamental note you broadcast into the universe, begins with the conscious direction of the most precious resource you possess. It is a resource more valuable than time, more potent than money, more fundamental than any action you can take. It is the lifeblood of your experience, the creative energy of the cosmos focused into a single, movable point. It is your attention. We treat our attention as if it were a trivial thing, a restless beam of light that we allow to be pulled here and there by the whims of the world. We give it away freely, carelessly, to anything that demands it. The ping of a notification, the drama on a screen, the fearful chatter of our own minds. We have been taught to manage our time and our money, but we have not been taught to manage our attention, and this is the greatest of all oversights. For your attention is not a passive observer. It is the primary creative force in your life. It is your spiritual currency. Imagine that each morning you wake up and a divine bank deposits 1,000 units of pure, creative attention into your account. This is your capital for the day. Every single thing you place your focus on is a transaction. You are quite literally paying attention. The question that will define the quality of your entire existence is this: where are you spending it? Are you investing it, or are you squandering it? You might spend 10 units scrolling through the curated outrage on social media, feeding your sense of anxiety. You might spend 50 units replaying an argument from yesterday, nourishing your resentment. You could invest 100 units worrying about a future that has not happened, purchasing a reality of fear. Or you could invest those same units in noticing the warmth of the sun on your skin, in feeling gratitude for the breath in your lungs, in focusing on a creative project, or in sending a silent blessing to a loved one. The choice is yours in every single moment. And just like with money, your small daily expenditures accumulate into the grand fortune or the profound debt of your life's experience. You are building your world, transaction by transaction, with the currency of your attention. To truly understand this power, let us return to the metaphor of the garden. Your mind is a vast and fertile garden. Within this garden, anything can grow. There are seeds of all kinds scattered in its soil. Seeds of joy, peace, and abundance, and seeds of fear, anger, and scarcity. Your attention is the water. It is the singular, life-giving element. And the fundamental law of this garden is simple and absolute. Whatever you water, grows. Whatever you starve of water, withers. Now, consider the unconscious gardener. This is how most of us live. The unconscious gardener walks into their magnificent garden each morning and immediately spots a weed thought of worry. Oh, this weed is terrible, they think, and they stare at it, fixated. As they stare, they are pouring the precious water of their attention onto the weed. Then they see another weed, a memory of a past hurt. They rush over to it. I can't believe this weed is still here. They analyze its shape, its color. They feel the texture of its leaves, remembering the pain. More water is poured. Throughout the day, their attention is captured by every single weed, the weed of comparison, the weed of self-doubt, the weed of judgment. They spend all their time, all their energy, all their water on the things they claim they do not want. Meanwhile, in a forgotten corner of the garden, the tiny, fragile bud of a rosea moment of potential joyous thirsting for a single drop of water, the seedling of a great oak of creative ideas withering from neglect. At the end of the day, the unconscious gardener looks around at their garden, now overgrown with lush, thriving weeds that have choked out everything else, and they feel like a victim. Why is my garden so full of weeds? Why is my life so full of problems? They do not realize that they, themselves, are the one who has so diligently cultivated their own misery. Now, consider the conscious gardener. This gardener walks into the same garden. They see the weeds. They do not deny their existence. They do not pretend they are not there. They simply acknowledge them. Ah, there is the weed of worry. There is the weed of resentment. And they walk past. They make a conscious choice not to give them their water. Instead, they carry their watering can over to that tiny rosebud of gratitude. They pour their attention generously upon it. They feel the gratitude in their heart. They look for more things to be grateful for, and the rose begins to open. They find the seedling of their creative idea, and they water it with focused thought, imagining its potential. They nurture the lavender of inner peace, the sunflower of connection with others, and a miracle happens. As the flowers and the great trees grow stronger and more vibrant, their leaves spread wide, their roots run deep. They create a lush canopy that blocks the sunlight from the weeds. The weeds, starved of water and light, naturally begin to wither. They don't need to be attacked or ripped out in a violent struggle. They are simply crowded out by a more powerful, more beautiful, and more consciously cultivated reality. You do not overcome darkness by fighting it. You overcome darkness by turning on a light. Let us bring this home. Conduct an honest audit of your own attention right now. Where did you spend your first units of currency this morning? Was it on your phone, immediately handing over your creative power to an algorithm designed to provoke a reaction in you? Was it on a news story about a disaster halfway across the world? Something you have no control over but which successfully tuned your being to a frequency of fear for the rest of the day? Think about your conversations. When you speak with friends or colleagues, where does the collective attention of the group go? Do you bond over complaining? Do you spend your time validating shared frustrations about your jobs, your partners, your government? This is mutual watering of weeds. You walk away feeling a temporary sense of connection, but you have all collaboratively strengthened the very reality you were complaining about. What about your inner world, the silent conversations you have with yourself? When your mind is idle, does the spotlight of your attention drift to your flaws, your mistakes, your to-do list? Do you use it to criticize your body, your intelligence, your progress in life? This is not harmless. This is an active process of creation. You are using the most powerful force in the universe to build a case against yourself. The principle is this: what you focus on expands, not because of magic, but because of resonance. By placing your attention on a thing, you are tuning your vibrational instrument to its frequency. Focus on lack, and you tune yourself to lack. Focus on beauty, and you tune yourself to beauty. The world does not change. You change your point of resonance, and in doing so, you gain access to a different layer of reality that was always there, waiting for you to tune into it. This is not about pretending problems do not exist. This is far more subtle and powerful. It is about acknowledging the problem, the weed, and then deliberately withdrawing the life-giving energy of your focused attention from it. You shift your focus from the problem to the feeling of the solution. You don't fight the sickness. You pour your attention into the feeling of vibrant health and energy within your body. You don't fight the debt. You pour your attention into the feeling of security, freedom, and gratitude for what you do have. You are taking your water away from the weed and giving it to the flower. This is the work. It is a moment-by-moment practice of conscious redirection. It requires vigilance and a gentle but firm discipline. And as you practice, you may notice something. You may notice that even when you know this, it can feel incredibly difficult. It can feel as if your attention is magnetically, almost irresistibly, pulled back to the weeds of worry and fear. Why is that? Why does the unconscious gardener feel so natural, and the conscious gardener requires so much effort at first? It is because the direction of your attention is not random. It flows along the existing pathways in your garden, like water flowing through irrigation channels. These channels have been carved deep into the soil of your mind over years and decades. They are your patterns, your habits, your assumptions about the world. And these channels, this hidden infrastructure that silently dictates the flow of your creative currency, is the architecture of your belief. To truly become the master of your attention, you must first become the architect of those beliefs. You must examine the very soil in which your garden grows. Your attention is not free-floating. It flows along the path of least resistance, moving through invisible channels carved deep into the soil of your mind by years of repetition. These channels, this hidden infrastructure that silently dictates where your creative energy flows, is the architecture of your belief. To attempt to control your attention without understanding your beliefs is like trying to change a river's course without understanding the landscape it flows through. It is a futile struggle. What is a belief? It is not merely a thought that you entertain. You have thousands of thoughts a day that you do not believe. A belief is a thought that you have accepted as a fundamental truth. It is a conclusion about the nature of reality that you have stopped questioning. These conclusions form the very lens through which you perceive the world. You do not see the world as it is. You see it as you are, and you are the sum of your beliefs. We must make a critical distinction between hope and belief. Hope is a wish. It is a gentle, often passive desire for a different reality. You can hope for abundance your entire life while fundamentally believing in scarcity. Hope says, "Wouldn't it be nice if?" Belief says, "This is how things are." Your life is not constructed upon the foundation of your hopes. It is constructed with absolute precision upon the foundation of your beliefs. They are the silent, powerful commands that your subconscious mind and the universe itself work tirelessly to obey. To grasp their power, consider an architect designing a skyscraper. Long before the first shovel breaks the ground, long before the first steel beam is hoisted into the sky, there is the blueprint. The blueprint is not just a casual sketch. It is a set of precise, authoritative instructions. It is a declaration of what will be. It defines the depth of the foundation, the strength of the support columns, the number of floors, the placement of every wall and window. The blueprint is the building in its conceptual, causal form. Now, the construction crew arrives. This crew represents the universe, your attention, your actions, the energy of creation. Their job is not to question the blueprint. Their job is to manifest it. They pour the concrete where the blueprint dictates. They install the wiring according to the schematic. They cannot decide on a whim to build a grand cathedral if the blueprint specifies a minimalist office block. To do so would be to defy the governing logic of the entire project. The finished building, in every single detail, is an exact physical manifestation of the instructions laid out on the blueprint. Your core beliefs are the blueprints of your reality. Your life, as you experience it right now, is the finished building. If you are unhappy with the building, if it feels small, cramped, unsafe, or is in constant need of repair, you can spend your entire life rearranging the furniture, repainting the walls, and fixing the leaky faucets. These are the equivalent of our frantic efforts to change our external circumstances. But these changes are superficial and temporary because the underlying structure remains the same. To create real, lasting change, you cannot just renovate the building. You must be willing to go back to the drawing board and revise the blueprint itself. How, then, do you find these invisible blueprints that are dictating your entire existence? You must become an archaeologist of your own mind. The first clue is the building itself. Look at your life, with radical honesty. The recurring patterns are not accidents. They are evidence of an underlying blueprint. If you consistently find yourself in relationships where you feel unseen or unappreciated, there is a blueprint within you that says, "I am not worthy of deep, unconditional love," or "I must earn love through self-sacrifice." If you experience chronic financial struggle, with money coming in and flowing out just as quickly, there is a blueprint that says, "Money is scarce and hard to come by," or "I am not responsible enough to handle wealth," or perhaps even, "To be wealthy is to be greedy and unspiritual." Your life is the ultimate feedback mechanism, constantly showing you the beliefs you hold to be true. The second clue is your language. Listen to the words you use, especially your casual, unthinking declarations. Phrases beginning with "I am" are powerful creative statements. "I am so tired all the time." "I am terrible with names." "I am just not a lucky person." These are not harmless descriptions. They are you, the architect, reading the blueprint aloud, reinforcing its power with every utterance. Listen for your generalizations about the world. People are selfish. Life is a struggle. You can't trust anyone. Each of these statements is a foundational beam in the skyscraper of your reality. The final clue is to follow the feeling. Your deepest beliefs are protected by strong emotional reactions. Think of a statement that directly contradicts a potential limiting belief. For example, if your hidden belief is, "I am unworthy," consider the statement, "I am infinitely worthy of love and success just as I am." Does a feeling of resistance, anger, scoffing, or even sadness arise within you? That emotional charge is a neon sign pointing directly at the location of the blueprint. You have found a core structural element. Once you have excavated a limiting belief, what do? The instinct is to fight it, to attack it. This is the way of force, and it only strengthens the belief by giving it the water of your attention. The way of subtle impact is different. First, you acknowledge the belief and thank it. This seems strange, but it is profoundly effective. That belief, no matter how destructive it seems now, was likely formed to protect you at some point. The belief that people can't be trusted may have been formed after a deep childhood hurt to protect you from further pain. So you speak to it internally. "Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I see how you were trying to help. But I am an adult now, and I choose to create a new reality. Your services are no longer required." This act of compassion neutralizes the emotional charge and allows you to release the belief without a fight. Next, you must consciously choose your new blueprint. You must write the new belief. It must be in the present tense, it must be positive, and it must feel empowering. Instead of "money is scarce," your new blueprint is, "I am a magnet for abundance, and I manage my resources with wisdom and ease." Instead of "I am unworthy of love," it is, "I am whole and complete, and I attract loving, respectful relationships." Now comes the most important part. A new blueprint on the table is useless until the construction crew starts to act on it. You must now begin to consciously direct the currency of your attention to evidence that supports your new belief. You must begin to build the case for your new reality. If your new belief is, "The world is a friendly and supportive place," you actively look for evidence. You make a mental note of the stranger who held the door for you, the colleague who gave you a genuine compliment, the friend who sent a supportive text. At first, it may feel like you are searching for tiny scraps of evidence in a world that seems to prove the opposite. But remember the gardener. You are deliberately watering the flower of your new belief. With each piece of evidence you acknowledge, and, most importantly, feel, you are carving a new, deeper channel in the soil of your mind for your attention to flow through. This process of architectural revision, of excavating, releasing, and rewriting your core beliefs is the true foundation of creating a new reality. But there is one final, crucial stage. Once the architect has handed over the new, revised blueprint to the construction crew, their most important job is to trust the process. Anxious interference, constant questioning, and a desperate need to see immediate results will only slow down and disrupt the construction. You have examined your life. You have identified the old, limiting blueprints. You have consciously drawn a new, empowering design for your reality. You have handed this new design over to the master builder, the intelligence of the universe. Now comes the most challenging and the most potent act of faith in the entire creative process. It is the act of letting go of the outcome. You must trust that the builders know what they are doing. You must allow the process to unfold in its own time, in its own way. This profound act of trust, this release of anxious control, is the very essence, the powerful and transformative gravity of surrender. You have walked through the garden of your mind, identifying the weeds and the flowers. You have become the architect of your own being, examining the old, crumbling blueprints of limiting beliefs and consciously, deliberately, drawing a new design for a reality of strength, peace, and abundance. You hold this new blueprint in your hand. It is clear, it is potent, it is true. You have handed this new design over to the master builder, the infinite intelligence of the universe. And now you stand at the most challenging, the most misunderstood, and the most powerful threshold of the entire creative process. You arrive at the gravity of surrender. The word itself can be frightening. It conjures images of defeat, of waving a white flag, of giving up. Our culture, built on the illusion of force, has taught us that to surrender is to lose. But we are not speaking of that kind of surrender. We are speaking of a higher law, a more profound power. True spiritual surrender is not an act of weakness. It is an act of supreme and unshakable confidence. It is the ultimate expression of faith. Let us be perfectly clear. Surrendering is not giving up. Giving up is an act of hopelessness. It is the energy of collapse, of despair. It is dropping the new blueprint in the mud, declaring the project a failure before the construction has even begun, and trudging back to the old, familiar, dilapidated building of your past. Giving up is a low-frequency vibration of victimhood. It is a declaration to the universe that you do not believe in your own power or in its support. Surrender is the polar opposite. Surrender is an active, conscious, and powerful state of trust. It is handing the blueprint to the master builder with a knowing smile and a quiet nod, and then stepping aside to let them do their work. It is the profound understanding that your job as the architect is complete for the moment, and now the expertise of the builder must take over. Surrender is not the abdication of your desire. It is the abdication of your need to control how and when that desire comes to fruition. It is a declaration of partnership with a force infinitely more intelligent and resourceful than your conscious mind. It vibrates with faith, with peace, and with confident expectation. You are not giving up on the goal. You are giving up the exhausting, counterproductive struggle. To illuminate this, imagine you are a master archer. This is an image of skill, focus, and power, not of passivity. Your desire is the target, distant but clear. The act of creation is the firing of the arrow. First, you perform the act of intention. You select a perfect arrow from your quiver. This is the clarity of your desire. You place it on the bowstring. This is the firmness of your decision. Then, you begin to draw the bow. This is the work we have been discussing. You pull the string back with strength and focus. This tension is the energy you have gathered through finding your stillness, tuning your resonance, directing your attention, and clarifying your beliefs. The bow groans, the wood is taut, the potential energy is immense. This is the phase of focused effort. Next, you aim. You anchor yourself, you quiet your breath, and you align your eye with the arrow and the target. This is the clarity of the new blueprint. Your vision is unwavering. You are not looking at other targets. You are not distracted. You are one with your goal. You have done everything within your power. The energy is gathered. The aim is true. And now, the moment of truth. The one final act required to send the arrow to its target. What is it? It is not more effort. It is not more straining. It is the opposite. It is an act of release. It is surrender. You must open your fingers. In that single decisive moment of letting go, all the potential energy you have gathered is transformed into kinetic power, and the arrow is launched. The flight of the arrow is a beautiful thing to behold, but its journey is now governed by laws beyond your muscular control. Its trajectory is guided by the principles of physics, the subtle currents of the wind, the wisdom of the universe itself. Here is the crucial point. What happens if, in that final moment, the archer hesitates? What if doubt creeps in? What if I miss? What if the wind is too strong? Maybe I should just hold on a little longer to be sure. If the archer refuses to release the string, what happens to the arrow? It goes nowhere. It remains a piece of wood and feather, impotent, its potential locked away by the archer's own grip. All the effort of drawing the bow, all the clarity of aiming, becomes utterly useless. The power is in the release. The surrender is the activation. The archer's job is not to fly with the arrow. The archer's job is to trust the flight. We are all this archer. We draw back the bow of our intention with great effort. We visualize, we affirm, we do the inner work. And then, we refuse to let go of the string. We hold on with a white-knuckled grip of control. We check every day to see if our desire has manifested. We worry. We doubt. We try to mentally manage every step of the arrow's flight. We are constantly meddling with the process, trying to fly with the arrow, and all we are doing is preventing it from ever truly being launched. This desperate need to control comes from the ego's terror of the unknown. The space between releasing the arrow and the arrow hitting the target is the space of faith. We call it the time lag, or the gestation period. This is the universe's workshop. It is the time when the builders are pouring the foundation, when the cosmic currents are aligning, when events are being orchestrated in ways we cannot possibly perceive. And for the ego, this period is agony. It has no control here. It cannot see the work being done. And so it panics. It's not working. It screams. Nothing is happening. I knew this was a mistake. This panic is you, the archer, trying to grab the arrow mid-flight, introducing wobble and resistance into its path. This is you, the client, digging up the seed every day to see if it's growing, ensuring that it never will. Your greatest act of power during this gestation period is to trust the process. It is to understand that the how is not your business. Your finite, logical mind can only conceive of a handful of ways your desire can come to you, usually based on your past experiences. But the infinite mind of the universe can see trillions of pathways. It can orchestrate synchronicities, chance encounters, and brilliant ideas that you could never have planned. It might bring your desire to you through a door you never even knew existed. When you insist on your own rigid plan for how it must happen, you are essentially telling the master builder, no, don't use your advanced tools and infinite wisdom. You must build this skyscraper using only this rusty hammer that I provide. Surrender is having the humility and the wisdom to let go of your hammer and allow the master builder to use their full, miraculous power. It is to state your intention and then add the magical addendum, this, or something better. How does this state of surrender feel in your body? It is not a feeling of anxiety or passive waiting. It is a feeling of peace. It is the feeling of a deep, full exhale after holding your breath for a very long time. Feel it now. Take a deep breath in, gathering all your tension, your worry, your need to control. And now, exhale completely. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. Allow the muscles in your stomach to soften. That feeling of release, that is the physical sensation of surrender. It is a quiet, confident knowing that what you have set in motion is in good hands. It is the feeling of being carried by the river, your work now simply to enjoy the ride and steer gently when required. It is a shift from the frantic energy of making it happen to the calm energy of letting it happen. To cultivate this state, you can create a simple ritual of release. Write your desire, your intention, on a piece of paper. Feel the energy of it, the joy of it, as if it were already real. And then, as a symbolic act of handing it over to a higher power, you can safely burn the paper, or dissolve it in water, or bury it in the earth. As you watch it transform, say aloud, "I release this into the hands of a power greater than myself. My work is done. I trust the process." This physical act helps to reprogram your subconscious mind, moving the desire from the realm of conscious, anxious thought into the realm of subconscious, trusting faith. When doubt and impatience inevitably arise during the time Lagand, they will do not fight them. Fighting them is resisting, and it breaks the state of surrender. Acknowledge them as you would a passing cloud. "Ah, I see you, doubt. I hear your fear." And then, gently bring your focus back to the trust. Create a simple mantra for these moments. The arrow is in flight. All is well. I am being guided. Your job is not to prevent the clouds from appearing, but to remember that you are the sky. Your only other job in this in-between phase is the most enjoyable of all. Get happy now. Find your peace and your joy before your desire arrives. Go for a walk. Listen to music. Engage in a hobby you love. Enjoy the life you have right now. This is not a distraction. It is a vital part of the process. Your joy, your peace, your good-feeling state is what keeps you on the same resonant frequency as your desire. It ensures that when the arrow arrives, you are a vibrational match for it. If you spend the gestation period in a state of misery and doubt, you are changing your frequency, and the arrow, seeking its resonant target, may fly right by you. Surrender, then, is the paradox of power. It is the strength to be soft, the confidence to be trusting, the wisdom to release control. It is the archer's ultimate act of faith, the deep exhale that allows creation to take flight. It is the act of letting go of your side of the rope, trusting that the universe will not drop it, but will begin to weave it into a beautiful tapestry. This great exhale, this sacred act of release, creates a space within you, a void, a state of pure potentiality. But this is only half of the equation of manifestation. For having created the open space, you must now become a gracious receiver. Having released the arrow, you must become the open, welcoming target. You must learn how to hold the door open for the good that is now rushing toward you. You must master the gentle, receptive state that allows what you have asked for and surrendered to finally enter your life. This is the subtle and beautiful art of allowing. Surrender is the great exhale, the act of releasing your tightly held desire to the wisdom of the cosmos. It creates the sacred void, the open space for a new reality to be born. But a space created must be held open. A door unlocked must be allowed to swing inward. Having released the arrow of your intention, you must now become the welcoming target. You must learn to embody the state of gracious reception. This is the subtle and beautiful art of allowing. This art requires a fundamental shift in your entire orientation to life. We are trained in the culture of getting. We must go out and get the promotion, get the partner, get the money. The energy of getting is aggressive, forceful. It presupposes that what you desire is separate from you and that you must hunt it down and capture it. It is the energy of the clenched fist. Allowing, however, is the energy of receiving. It is the energy of the open palm. It operates on the profound understanding that what you have asked for vibrationally has already been given. The universe is a constant and unending stream of well-being and response, always flowing toward you. Your work is not to chase the stream, but to simply stop building dams against it. Your task is not to seek, but to cease your own resistance. Imagine the universe is a grand radio tower, broadcasting an infinite number of stations simultaneously on every conceivable frequency. There is a station that endlessly plays the symphony of perfect, vibrant health. There is a 24-hour news station that reports only on stories of joyful abundance, opportunity, and human kindness. There is a station dedicated to the poetry of deep, soulful, romantic love. Every reality you can imagine, and many you cannot, is being broadcast right now, this very moment. These broadcasts are not in a distant galaxy. They are flowing through the very room you are in. They are already here. You are a living radio receiver. Your state of being, the resonant frequency you cultivated in your stillness, is your tuner. When you tune yourself to the frequency of peace, you begin to be able to pick up the peace station. When you tune yourself to the frequency of abundance, you are aligning your receiver with the abundance broadcast. This is the work of resonance. But there is another crucial component to the radio, the clarity of the signal. What happens if you are tuned to the right station, but the signal is filled with static? The beautiful symphony is corrupted by hisses, pops, and crackles. You can barely make out the music through the noise. This static is your resistance. Allowing is the art of eliminating the static. The universe is constantly sending you a clear, powerful signal of your desired reality. But you, through certain habits of thought and feeling, are corrupting the signal before you can experience it. Your work is not to make the broadcast stronger. It is already infinitely strong. Your work is to clean up your own reception. So what are these sources of static that block the flow of well-being? The most powerful form of static is worry. Worry is the act of using your creative imagination to pray for what you do not want. When you have asked for financial ease, but you spend your day worrying about bills, you are tuned to the frequency of abundance, but you are flooding the channel with the static of fear. You are trying to listen to the symphony of wealth while blasting the noise of poverty through the same speakers. The universe is still sending the signal of abundance, but you cannot hear it through the racket of your own worry. Another potent form of static is complaining. To complain is to take the currency of your attention and use it to lovingly polish the details of your unwanted reality. When you complain about your job, your health, your relationships, you are making a powerful, passionate affirmation of what you do not want. It is like standing in front of your radio, which is tuned to the station you desire, and shouting at it about how much you hate the music on a different station. The act of complaining keeps your vibrational attention fixed on the problem, creating so much interference that the solution, which is being broadcast simultaneously, cannot get through. The need to know the how, the when, and the where is also a tremendous source of static. This is a subtle lack of trust, a hangover from the state of surrender. It is you telling the master builder how to do their job. This need for control clutters the frequency. It is like constantly taking your radio apart to see how it works, wondering why you can never get a clear signal. Your insistence on a specific path closes you off to the 1,000 other, often easier and more joyful, paths that are available. Doubt is like a faulty wire in your receiver. It creates intermittent connection. One moment you believe, and the signal is clear. The next moment, you doubt, and the signal cuts out with a loud crackle. A life experience that is on again, off again, is often a reflection of a receiver that is flickering between faith and doubt, constantly disrupting the flow. Finally, the simple act of constantly speaking about your problems, of telling the story of your struggle, is perhaps the most common way we create static. Your words are creative commands. When you tell the story of your sickness, or your lack, or your loneliness, you are not just describing a past reality. You are using your powerful focus and vibrational energy to rebroadcast that reality into your present moment, overriding the new signal you are trying to receive. The art of allowing, then, is the art of consciously and deliberately clearing away these forms of static. It is a practice of gentle non-resistance. Imagine you are in a small boat on a peacefully flowing river. This river is the stream of well-being, always carrying you toward your desires. Allowing is simply putting down the oars and enjoying the journey. Every time you worry, complain, or doubt, it is the equivalent of grabbing the oars and paddling furiously upstream against the current. It is exhausting, it is stressful, and it slows down or even reverses your progress. The practice of allowing is to simply notice, with non-judgmental awareness, I am paddling upstream again. And then, gently, You choose to drop the oars. You do this 100 times a day if you must. It is a constant, gentle returning to the state of trust and flow. The most effective way to clear static is to cultivate good-feeling states, even on subjects that have nothing to do with your desire. Your receiver, when tuned to joy, can pick up any joyful broadcast. The universe is not compartmentalized. Go and do something that reliably makes you feel good. The subject is irrelevant. Pet your dog. Listen to a piece of music that makes your heart soar. Watch a film that makes you laugh. Lose yourself in a creative hobby. These actions are not frivolous distractions. They are powerful vibrational maintenance. You are cleaning your receiver, polishing the lens, and allowing the signal of your well-being to come through with crystal clarity. A powerful and gentle game to play to soften resistance is the game of, wouldn't it be nice if? The statement, I am abundant, can sometimes create resistance if a part of you screams, no, you're not. But the phrase, wouldn't it be nice if, has no resistance. It is soft, playful, and open-ended. Wouldn't it be nice if the perfect solution just appeared? Wouldn't it be nice if I felt a little bit better today? Wouldn't it be nice if traffic cleared up? This gentle wondering eases you into a better feeling state, which quiets the static and allows the stream of well-being to flow just a little bit more. The state of allowing is a state of vibrational clarity, a channel kept open and free from the static of your own resistance. The most powerful tool you use every single day to either create that static or to clear it is the tool of your own language, both the words you speak aloud and the words you think in your mind. Every word is a command, a spell cast upon the waters of creation. Each sentence either aligns you with the gentle current of well-being or becomes an oar with which you paddle furiously against it. To truly master the art of allowing, to keep your receiver clear and your channel open, we must now become deeply conscious of the creative vibration of our words. The state of allowing is a state of vibrational clarity, a channel kept open and free from the static of your own resistance. The most powerful instrument you wield, every moment of every day, to either create that static or to clear it, is the instrument of your own language. Every word you speak and every thought you think is a command, a spell cast upon the subtle substance of the universe. They are not passive descriptors of your world. They are active, potent, creative agents that are constantly building it. We have been conditioned to believe that words are merely labels, neutral tools we use to describe a reality that already exists, solid and separate from us. This is a profound misunderstanding. A word is not a passive label. It is a vibrational event. It is a thought, form condensed, given shape by the breath, and released into the energetic field. Each word carries a specific frequency, a unique signature of information and energy. When you speak, you are not just making noise. You are broadcasting a creative frequency. You are literally telling reality how to organize itself around you. Consider the two most powerful words in the human lexicon. I am. Whatever follows these two words is a direct command to the vast, creative power of your subconscious mind and to the universe at large. The universe does not have a sense of humor, nor does it judge. It is a loyal and impartial servant. It does not analyze whether your command is good for you or bad for you. It simply hears the vibrational decree and sets about to manifest experiences that match it. When you say, casually, I am so tired, you are not just describing a feeling. You are issuing a creative decree. You are commanding your cells to be tired, commanding the universe to bring you more circumstances that will validate and deepen that state of exhaustion. When you say, I am always broke, the universe hears the command, I am broke, and diligently closes doors to opportunity and conspires to create unexpected expenses to make your command true for you. When you say, I am just unlucky, you are casting a powerful spell upon yourself, instructing the field of probability to bend in the direction of misfortune. We utter these creative curses upon ourselves all day long, treating them as harmless observations. when in fact we are meticulously building the very prisons we complain about. The silent dialogue within your own mind is even more potent, for it is constant. This inner self-talk is the steady, uninterrupted stream of commands you are feeding into your reality. Is your inner voice a compassionate friend or a merciless critic? Does it speak of your strength, or does it narrate your weaknesses? That inner broadcast is the foundational spell that shapes your entire life. To grasp this fully, imagine your consciousness, your connection to the unified field of all possibility is a vast, perfectly still lake at dawn. The surface is like a flawless mirror, reflecting the infinite sky. Every single word you think or speak is a drop of water falling onto the surface of this lake. A word spoken from a place of fear, anger, or scarcity. Word like failure, hate, or loneliness, like a heavy, murky drop of oil. When it hits the surface, it creates jarring, chaotic, discordant ripples. These ugly patterns spread outward, distorting the entire surface of the lake, making it impossible to see the clear reflection of the sky, of your true divine nature. Conversely, a word spoken from a place of love, trust, or gratitude, a word like peace, beauty, or connectedness, like a drop of pure, clear, living water. When it strikes the surface, it creates beautiful, harmonious, concentric ripples that expand gracefully, enhancing the lake's clarity and beauty. Now, a single drop creates only a small, temporary ripple, but we are not speaking single words. We are engaged in a constant inner and outer monologue. Imagine a steady, unceasing drizzle of complaint, of self-criticism, of fearful gossip, drop after drop of murky oil, all day long. Soon, the entire surface of the lake is a choppy, chaotic, muddy mess. This is the state of a person whose life feels like a constant struggle. On the other hand, imagine a conscious, deliberate choosing of words, a steady stream of appreciation, of self-encouragement, of hopeful possibility. The lake becomes a symphony of beautiful, overlapping, harmonious patterns, a coherent field of creative power. The great shift in mastery comes when you move from using your words to report on reality to using them to decree your reality. Reporting is the default state for most of humanity. We see a reality we do not like, and we use our powerful creative instrument of language to describe it in meticulous detail. We report on our sickness, we report on our debt, we report on our loneliness. We are like a news correspondent reporting live from the scene of a crime, our words anchoring us ever more firmly to the unwanted circumstance. You are using the magic wand of your speech to paint the walls of your prison a darker shade of gray. Decreeing is the conscious use of language to call forth a new reality. It is not about lying or denying the present circumstances. It is about withdrawing your creative focus from the unwanted and placing it upon the chosen. It is about speaking from the desired end, as if it were already taking shape. Instead of reporting, "I feel so sick," a decree might sound like, "I am grateful for my body's incredible intelligence and its ability to heal. I am focusing on the feeling of vitality and well-being flowing through me now." Instead of reporting, "I can't afford that," a decree could be, "I am open and receptive to all channels of abundance. I am choosing to focus on a reality of financial freedom and ease." This is not self-deception. It is creative direction. You are the architect, speaking the blueprint into existence. When you report on your problems, you are commanding the construction crew to keep building the old, broken structure. When you decree your new reality, you are handing them a new set of instructions. This is the true power of affirmations, a practice often misunderstood. Simply repeating a phrase, like "I am wealthy," while feeling deep in your heart the reality of your debt, will create conflict and resistance. The vibration is not in the word alone, but in the feeling and belief with which it is imbued. The words are the arrow, but the feeling is the force of the bowstring behind it. A powerful practice to align your words and feelings is called scripting. Before you sleep or upon waking. Take a journal and write out your ideal day, or the resolution of a specific problem in the past tense, as if it has already happened. Write with rich, sensory detail, and, most importantly, with emotion. Today was an absolutely incredible day. I woke up feeling so rested and energized. The most amazing thing happened this morning when I received an email with the exact opportunity I had been dreaming of. I felt such a wave of joy and gratitude wash over me. By scripting in the past tense, you bypass the resistant ego which cannot argue with something that has already happened. You are creating a memory of the future, tuning your entire being to its frequency. Begin to become a gentle editor of your own casual speech. Notice how often you use limiting negative language. Start to replace it. Instead of the burdened sigh of, "I have to go to work," try the privileged perspective of, "I get to go to work." Instead of automatically apologizing for taking up space, replace a needless "I'm sorry" with a confident "thank you." Thank you for your patience, instead of "I'm sorry I'm late." These are not small things. They are subtle but constant retunings of your entire vibrational output. Your words, then, are the rudder of your ship, steering your vessel through the sea of potential. They are the powerful commands that shape the energetic blueprint of your reality. But even a ship with a perfectly set rudder must eventually engage with the elements. It must hoist its sails to catch the wind. This does not mean returning to the old world of frantic, forceful paddling. It means learning to recognize and act upon a new kind of impulse that feels easy, joyful, and magnetic. An impulse that arises naturally from your new state of being. We must now learn to distinguish between action born of desperation and the effortless, flowing power of inspired action. You have tuned your being to a new frequency. You have cleared the static of resistance by becoming the master of your attention, the architect of your beliefs, and the conscious caster of the spells you call words. You stand in a state of allowing, holding the door open for your good to arrive. But in this physical world, this inner alignment often seeks an outer expression. A question naturally arises. Is that all? Do I simply sit in a room and wait for the world to rearrange itself around me? What is the role of action? Here we must be very careful. For this is where many seekers stumble, reverting to the old paradigm of force under a new spiritual guise. The answer is not that you cease to act. You are an agent of creation, and action is part of your nature. The crucial difference lies not in the action itself, but in the energy from which it is born. There are two, and only two, sources of action. One is desperation, the other is inspiration. Desperate action is the default mode of the ego. It is born from the frequency of lack, from the belief that you are separate from what you desire, and that it will not come to you unless you wrestle it into submission. Its root is fear, the fear that it will not happen, the fear that you are not enough, the fear that you are running out of time. This is the energy of the clenched fist, now applied to your to-do list. You know the feeling of desperate action intimately. It feels heavy in your body. It comes with a sense of frantic urgency, a tightness in your chest, a knot in the pit of your stomach. It is the energy of, I have to, I must, I should. It is draining. When you take action from this place, you are, in effect, paddling furiously upstream. You might make progress, but every inch is a struggle, and you arrive at your destination, if you arrive at all, utterly exhausted. The world feels resistant to you because you are in a state of resistance yourself. Imagine you are standing before a large, solid oak door. This door represents your goal. Desperate action is deciding that the only way into the room is to break the door down. You throw your shoulder against it again and again. You kick at it, you claw at the wood. The effort is immense, the noise is deafening. You are pouring all of your energy into the struggle. Your focus is on the obstacle, the solidness of the door, the resistance it is providing. After a monumental effort, you might even succeed. You might splinter the frame and burst into the room, bruised, bloody, and breathless, only to find the room in disarray from your violent entry. You have achieved your goal through force, but at a great cost to your own peace and energy. Now, consider inspired action. Inspired action is born from the opposite frequency. It arises from the state of alignment you have so carefully cultivated. It is born of trust, of abundance, and of flow. It does not feel like a should or a have to. It feels like a gentle pull, a quiet nudge, a sudden spark of curiosity or excitement. It often arrives in the stillness, as a quiet whisper, a clear idea that seems to come from nowhere. It is the universe tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Psst, this way." The feeling of inspired action is unmistakable once you learn to recognize it. It feels light, it feels easy, it feels expansive and energizing. There is no frantic urgency, only a calm, clear sense of rightness. When you act from inspiration, you feel as though you are being carried by the current, not fighting against it. The action itself is often enjoyable, regardless of the outcome, because it feels so aligned with your true nature. Let us return to the oak door. The person operating from inspiration, upon finding the door locked, does not begin to attack it. They pause, they breathe. They step back and observe the situation without panic. They return to their center of stillness. And in that quiet moment, a gentle impulse arises. It is not a frantic thought, but a simple, clear idea. Check your pocket. They reach into their pocket, and there their fingers close around a small, ornate brass key, a key they had forgotten they possessed. They walk back to the door, slide the key into the lock, and with a satisfying, almost silent click, the mechanism turns. The heavy door swings open effortlessly on well-oiled hinges, revealing the room pristine and waiting. They have achieved the same outcome as the first person, but with an economy of effort that seems miraculous. They have entered the room not with force, but with alignment. This is the profound difference. Desperate action tries to overcome the obstacle. Inspired action bypasses the obstacle entirely. One is a battle, the other is a dance. The key to shifting from one to the other is to learn the language of your own body, your own inner guidance system. Before you take a significant action, especially one that feels heavy or fraught with anxiety, perform this simple litmus test. Place your hand on your heart, quiet your mind, and ask the action a question. Do you bring me a feeling of expansion or contraction? An inspired action, no matter how small, will feel expansive. Your body will feel lighter, more open. There might be a sense of excitement, of joyful anticipation. A desperate action will feel contractive. Your body will tense up. You will feel a knot of anxiety, a sense of dread or obligation. Your inner guidance system never lies. Learning to trust this simple physical response is one of the most important skills you can develop on this path. Cultivating a life of inspired action requires patience. The ego despises a vacuum. It wants to be doing something at all times. When you have set an intention and surrendered it, there is often a period of waiting for the key to appear. During this time, the ego will scream at you to do something, anything, to force the issue. It will present you with 1,000 desperate actions disguised as productivity. The true work here is to be comfortable in the stillness, to trust that the builders are at work, that the key is on its way, and that the impulse to act will come at the perfect moment. And when the impulse comes, it may not be a grand, life-altering command. More often, inspired action begins as a small, seemingly insignificant nudge. It is the sudden urge to call a friend you have not spoken to in years. It is the impulse to buy a particular book that catches your eye. It is the decision to take a different route home from work. It is the curiosity to look up a random subject online. These are the threads. On their own, they seem random, but when you trust them and follow them, you begin to see that they are all connected, weaving a beautiful and intricate tapestry, leading you gracefully toward your desire in a way you could never have orchestrated. You might have an impulse to go to a specific coffee shop you have never visited before. This is not a desperate action. It does not feel heavy. It is just a light, curious thought. You follow it. While there, you overhear a conversation behind you about a company that is looking for someone with your exact skills. This is the nature of inspired action. It is a co-creation with the universe, a dance between your inner alignment and the synchronicities of the outer world. So, you must learn to listen. The frantic shouting of the desperate ego will always try to drown out the quiet, calm whisper of inspired action. But the more you practice returning to the stillness, the more you learn to trust the feeling of lightness and expansion, the weaker the ego's frantic voice becomes, and the clearer the whisper of your inner guidance is heard. To become a master of inspired action, you must first become a master of perception. You must learn to quiet the inner noise so you can hear these subtle whispers and recognize the patterns the universe is showing you. You must learn to read the language of reality itself, to listen to its echoes, and to trust the messages it constantly reflects back to you. To become a master of inspired action, you must first become a master of perception. You must learn to quiet the clamor of the ego so you can hear the universe's subtle whispers. This requires a fundamental shift in your understanding of reality itself. You must come to realize that your life is not a monologue where you shout your intentions into a silent and indifferent void. Your life is a dialogue. It is a constant, living conversation between you and the cosmos. The universe is always speaking to you. The question is, are you listening? The language of the universe is not typically spoken in words. It is a language of symbol, of synchronicity, of resonance. It is a language of echoes. When you send out a clear vibrational signal through your being, the world rearranges itself in response. And parts of that new arrangement will filter back to you as feedback, as confirmation, as guidance. These are the echoes of your own broadcast, reflected back to you from the mirror of reality. What are these echoes? They are the meaningful coincidences that make you pause and wonder. You are wrestling with a difficult problem, and you overhear two strangers in a cafe discussing the perfect solution. You think of a friend you haven't seen in a decade, and that very afternoon, you receive an email from them out of the blue. You ask the universe for a sign that you are on the right path, and for the rest of the day, you see a specific, unusual symbol, perhaps a particular bird, or a recurring sequence of numbers everywhere you look. These are not random statistical anomalies. They are winks from the cosmos. They are moments where the veil between the energetic blueprint and the physical world becomes thin, allowing you to see the machinery of creation at work. The skeptic, the person trapped in the illusion of a purely mechanical world, will dismiss these events as mere chance. But the conscious creator, the one who understands that reality is a conversation, recognizes them for what they are. Messages. They are the universe confirming, I have heard you. The process has begun. Pay attention. Perhaps the most powerful echoes are the recurring patterns in your life. Do you find yourself repeatedly attracting the same type of romantic partner, the one who is emotionally unavailable? Do you seem to face the same kind of conflict with different bosses in different jobs? Do you experience the same financial crunch at the same time every year? These are not punishments. They are not proof that you are cursed with bad luck. They are powerful, loving echoes. They are the universe holding up a mirror and saying, look, this pattern is originating from within you. There is a belief here, a vibration you are holding, that is creating this echo over and over. Once you heal the source, the echo will change. To understand this dynamic without fear or judgment, imagine that your life is a journey in a car, and your inner being is equipped with a highly advanced cosmic GPS. When you clarify your intention, your desired destination, you program it into the system. The calm, gentle voice of the GPS giving you turn-by-turn directions is the voice of inspired action. In 200 feet, turn right. It is a quiet, clear, and helpful nudge. But what happens when you miss a turn? Perhaps you were distracted by the chaotic noise of your own thoughts. Perhaps fear took the wheel for a moment, and you deliberately ignored the instruction, thinking you knew a better way. What does the GPS do? Does it shout at you? Does it berate you? Does it say, "You fool, you have ruined the entire journey. Now you will never get there"? It does none of these things. Without any judgment, without any drama, it simply performs one calm, immediate function. It says, "Recalculating." And in the next moment, it provides you with a new set of instructions, a new best path from your current location. The echoes of reality are the universe's recalculating signal. A synchronicity, a sign, a recurring obstacle is all just loving feedback. It is the cosmos saying, "Okay, you've taken a different turn. No problem. Here is the new path. Pay attention to this clue. It will get you back on track." When you encounter the same problem again and again, it is the GPS calmly repeating, "This road is closed for spiritual construction. Please make a U-turn when it is safe to do so." There is no anger, no punishment. There is only intelligent, compassionate guidance, constantly working to show you the path of least resistance toward the joy you have asked for. How, then, do you become a better listener? How do you learn to interpret this silent, symbolic language? The first step, as always, is to cultivate stillness. You cannot hear the subtle whisper of the GPS if you have the radio of your own mental chatter blasting at full volume. Through meditation, through moments of conscious presence, through simply walking in nature, you create the inner quiet necessary to perceive the subtle messages that are constantly being sent. Second, you must adopt an attitude of curiosity and playfulness. Treat your life as a grand treasure hunt. When a coincidence occurs, don't just brush it off. Get curious. Smile. Say, "Okay, I see you. What's the message here?" Ask yourself, "What was I thinking about or feeling just before this happened?" Often, the echo is a direct answer to the question you were just pondering. This shifts you from being a passive victim of circumstance to an active, engaged participant in a magical conversation. A wonderful practice is to keep a synchronicity journal. When these moments occur, write them down. Note the date, the event, and what was happening in your life or in your mind at the time. This act of recording accomplishes two things. It signals to your subconscious mind that these events are important, which will cause you to notice them more frequently. And over time, as you read back through your journal, you will begin to see patterns. You will see how a sign that appeared in March was pointing toward an opportunity that arrived in May. You will begin to learn your own unique symbolic language with the universe. And finally, you must trust your own intuition in the interpretation. The universe speaks to you in a language that you will understand. A feather might appear on your path. 1,000 spiritual books could tell you what a feather means. But the only true interpretation is the one that resonates in your heart. What does it feel like it means to you? Does it feel like a sign of lightness and freedom? A message from a loved one? A reminder to not take things so seriously? The first intuitive hit, the meaning that pops into your head before your logical mind can analyze it, that is usually the correct one. Your heart knows the language. Trust it. As you become more fluent in this silent language of echoes, your life transforms from a series of random, chaotic events into a beautiful, flowing dance of co-creation. You trust the feedback the universe provides. You follow its gentle nudges of inspired action. You see the challenges not as obstacles, but as loving, recalculating signals. But this dance requires a partner, and that partner is time. You learn that not every sign requires immediate, frantic action, and not every echo brings an instantaneous result. You may see the sign for your destination, but the exit ramp may still be miles down the road. To dance gracefully, you must learn to respect the sacred rhythm of creation, the natural cadence of how things grow and come to be. You must come to understand the profound and peaceful wisdom of the unfolding. As you learn to trust the seasons of your life, finding a deep and abiding peace in the wisdom of the unfolding, your faith will inevitably be tested. The path of conscious creation is not a perfectly paved, perpetually sunlit road. It is a living, dynamic journey through a wild and beautiful landscape. On this journey, you will encounter fallen trees, impassable canyons, and sudden, unexpected storms. The untrained mind, the ego still trapped in the paradigm of struggle, sees these events as failures. It interprets them as proof that the universe is hostile, that the path is wrong, or that the desired destination is unattainable. It cries out, "I knew it was too good to be true," and its faith shatters. But the conscious creator learns to see with new eyes. You come to understand that these challenges are not punishments. They are not signs that you have been abandoned. They are, in fact, a sacred and necessary part of the unfolding itself. They are not blockades meant to stop you. They are signposts meant to guide you. They are not enemies to be vanquished. They are teachers to be revered. Every obstacle that appears in your path is an oracle, a living messenger from the universe, bringing you a vital piece of information you could receive in no other way. To truly embrace this, you must release the fantasy of a problem-free life. Growth does not happen in a vacuum. A muscle does not grow stronger without resistance. A diamond is not formed without immense pressure. Your spirit is no different. The universe is not trying to make your life easy. It is trying to make you strong. It is not trying to protect you from all challenges. It is trying to forge you into a being who is capable of meeting any challenge with grace, wisdom, and power. Imagine you are a lump of raw, unrefined iron. You are filled with potential, but you are also filled with impurities. You are soft, unshaped, and untested. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not see you as this lump of iron. It sees the magnificent, sharp, and resilient sword that you are capable of becoming. And so, like a master blacksmith, it picks you up and begins the sacred process of forging. First, it thrusts you into the fire. This is the heat of a challenge, a difficult diagnosis, a financial setback, a painful conflict. The fire is intensely uncomfortable. Its purpose is to make you malleable, to soften the rigid, brittle parts of your ego, to burn away the surface-level illusions so that your true nature can be reshaped. Next, the blacksmith places you, glowing and hot, upon the anvil of the present moment and begins to strike you with the hammer of circumstance. Each blow, each impact, each pressure point feels like a violent attack. But the blacksmith is not striking randomly. Each blow is precise, intentional. With every strike, impurities, your limiting beliefs, your hidden fears, your trapped emotions are knocked away like dross from the hot metal. With every strike, you are being shaped, refined, and given a new and more powerful form. Finally, when the shaping is complete, the blacksmith plunges the white-hot metal into a trough of cold water. This is the shock of integration, the sudden shift that tempers the steel, locking in its new strength, its new resilience. You are not the same as you were before. The process has fundamentally changed you. The result is not a battered, broken piece of iron. The result is a sword-strong, flexible, sharp, and beautiful. The universe is not trying to break you, it is trying to forge you. These obstacle oracles generally appear with one of two primary purposes. The first is a test of your conviction. Often, right after you have set a powerful new intention or defined a new blueprint for your life, a challenge will appear that seems to be the exact opposite of what you have asked for. You declare your intention to be a beacon of peace, and that afternoon you are faced with an incredibly frustrating and angry person. You commit to a new reality of financial abundance, and the next day you receive a large, unexpected bill. This is not a punishment. This is the universe lovingly asking, "Are you sure? Do you really mean it? How committed are you to holding this new frequency, even when your old reality presents you with a test?" When you can meet the test, when you can find your peace in the face of the angry person, when you can hold your faith in abundance while looking at the bill, you have passed the test. You have proven your commitment, and your new reality rushes toward you with accelerated speed. The second, and more common, purpose of an obstacle oracle is to reveal a hidden blockage within you. Often, there are limiting beliefs or trapped emotions that we are not consciously aware of. They are like faulty code running deep in our subconscious operating system. The universe, in its love for you, will create a circumstance in your outer world that perfectly triggers this hidden inner blockage, bringing it to the surface of your awareness so that you can finally see it, acknowledge it, and heal it. If your stated desire is to create a deeply loving, committed partnership, but you carry a hidden subconscious belief that you are fundamentally unworthy of love, the universe may present you with the obstacle of meeting a series of partners who are unable to commit. These partners are not the problem, they are the oracle. They are the physical manifestation of your own inner belief, appearing in your life to show you what is running in your subconscious. The oracle is saying, the blockage is not out here. The blockage to the love you seek is this feeling of unworthiness right here, inside you. Heal this, and the echo will change. The obstacle is not a wall, it is a mirror. It is a loving invitation to go within and heal the source of the reflection. The key to working with these oracles is to completely transform the question you ask when they appear. The unconscious person, the victim of circumstance, looks at the obstacle and cries out, "Why is this happening to me?" This question is born of powerlessness and creates only suffering. The conscious creator, the student of wisdom, looks at the very same obstacle and asks a completely different set of questions. Why is this happening for me? What is this trying to teach me? What part of me is this situation asking me to heal? What quality within myself is this challenge inviting me to embody? This shift in questioning is the single most powerful thing you can do to reclaim your power. It transforms you from a victim into a student, from a pawn into a player. You begin to engage with your life's challenges as a sacred curriculum designed for your own awakening. To read the oracle, look for the feeling it triggers. The challenge is designed to provoke a specific emotional response in you. Does it make you feel fear? Then the oracle is asking you to find your courage. Does it make you feel powerless? Then the oracle is asking you to find your true source of power. Does it make you feel scarcity and lack? Then the oracle is asking you to find your unshakable faith in abundance, even in the face of contrary evidence. The discomfort you feel is creative discomfort. It is a sign that you are at your growth edge. It is the heat of the forge, learning to sit in that heat, to breathe into it, and to consciously choose to generate the opposite, desired feeling that is the work of the master. To read the oracle of any obstacle is to understand that its ultimate purpose is to provoke an inner shift. It is to see that every external challenge is an invitation to choose a new state of being. The universe, through the obstacle, is constantly asking, can you feel peace, even in this storm? Can you feel worthy, even in the face of this rejection? Can you feel abundant, even with this bill in your hand? The ability to consciously generate and maintain your desired inner state, independent of external conditions, is the master key that unlocks every door and dissolves every obstacle. This is the ultimate recognition that the state you are in is the key. To read the oracle of an obstacle is to understand its true purpose, to provoke an inner shift. Every external challenge is a divine invitation to consciously choose a new state of being. The universe, through the very fabric of your circumstances, is constantly asking, who do you choose to be, right now? And your answer to this question determines everything that follows. We now arrive at the master key that unlocks all the other doors we have. Discuss the stillness, the resonance, the attention, the belief, the words. All these are but tools to achieve one ultimate aim, the conscious control of your inner state of being. The recognition that the state you inhabit is the key. For our entire lives, we have been taught a lie about cause and effect. We believe that the external world is the cause, and our internal feeling is the effect. The promotion comes first, then we feel successful. The lottery win comes first, then we feel abundant. The loving partner appears first, Then we feel loved and worthy. In this model, we are powerless. We are puppets on the strings of circumstance, constantly waiting for the world outside to grant us permission to feel good. We spend our lives reacting, never truly creating. The conscious creator understands that the law is, and has always been, the exact opposite. Your internal state of being is the cause. The external world is the effect. The feeling is the secret. You must first feel successful, then the promotion or opportunity will arrive to match that feeling. You must first inhabit the feeling of abundance, then the channels of wealth will open to reflect that state. You must first enter the state of being loved and worthy, then the person who can mirror that love will be drawn into your life. The feeling precedes the physical manifestation. You do not wait for the evidence to believe. Your belief, embodied as a state, is what creates the evidence. To make this practical, consider the work of a master actor. An amateur actor walks onto the stage, speaks their lines, and waits for the applause from the audience to feel like they have succeeded. Their performance is often flat and unconvincing because they are seeking validation from the outside. They are operating under the flawed model of cause and effect. But a master actor, a true artist, does their most important work long before the curtain rises. In the quiet of their dressing room, the master actor does not merely memorize lines. They consciously and deliberately enter the state of the character they are to portray. If they are to play a king, they do not just think about being a king. They find the feeling of sovereignty within their own body. They adjust their posture to be regal. They breathe the slow, confident breath of one who holds absolute authority. They close their eyes and conjure the feeling of immense responsibility, of unshakable confidence, of a life lived in power. They walk around the room as the king. They feel what it is like to be the king. They are not pretending. For that moment, in their consciousness, they are the king. When this actor finally walks onto the stage, they do not have to act. They simply are. Their every gesture, their every word, the very quality of their silence emanates from the state they have so meticulously cultivated. The audience is mesmerized. They are not seeing a performance. They are witnessing a reality. And the thunderous applause at the end is not the cause of their great performance. It is the natural, inevitable consequence of the state they chose to embody before they ever stepped into the light. You are this master actor. Your life is your stage. Your circumstances are your audience. To experience a different reality, you must stop waiting for the applause. You must go into the quiet dressing room of your own mind and consciously embody the state of the person you wish to become. So how is this done? How do you enter the state of your wish fulfilled when the evidence of your senses screams the contrary? The gateway is your own magnificent human imagination. Imagination is not, as we have been taught, a frivolous faculty for childish daydreaming. Imagination is the workshop of God. It is the creative studio where all realities are first conceived and given form. The most potent time to use this gateway is in the state akin to sleep, that drowsy, suggestible period just as you are drifting off at night, or just as you are waking in the morning. In this state, the analytical, skeptical conscious mind is quiet, and the door to the subconscious, the master builder, is wide open. Here, you do not imagine the moment of getting your desire, for that still implies lack. You imagine a short, simple scene that implies the desire is already an accomplished fact. If your desire is for healing, you do not imagine receiving the diagnosis of health. You imagine a friend shaking your hand and saying with genuine joy, "You have never looked better," and you feel the thrill of that statement being true. If your desire is for a loving partner, you do not imagine the first date. You imagine the simple, comfortable feeling of a wedding ring on your finger as you go about a mundane task, like gripping the steering wheel of your car. You feel the weight, the texture, the profound emotional significance of it. If your desire is for abundance, you do not imagine the lottery win. You imagine a calm, relaxed feeling of looking at your bank statement and feeling a sense of profound security and peace, thinking, There is more than enough. Make this imagined scene rich with sensory detail. Engage all your senses. If your wish were true, what would you see with your inner eye? What would you hear? The sound of a loved one's voice? The ocean? What would you touch? The fabric of a new coat? The keys to a new home? What would you smell or taste? And most important of all, what is the core feeling of this state? Is it relief? Is it freedom? Is it joy? Is it peace? You must capture that feeling. That feeling is the secret. To feel the reality of the state you desire before it is physically present is to command it into being. This is not a one-time act. It is a practice. You return to your desired state, your home frequency, as often as possible, and you can access it in an instant, even in the middle of a busy day. Your physical body is a powerful tool for changing your state. You cannot feel depressed and defeated while standing tall, with your shoulders back, your chest open, your head held high, and a gentle smile on your face. Try it now. Adjust your posture to one of confident success. Take a deep, slow, diaphragmatic breath. The simple act of changing your physiology sends a powerful signal to your brain and your nervous system to change your emotional state. Music is another potent key. Sound bypasses the logical mind and directly alters your vibrational frequency. Create playlists for your desired states. Have a playlist for unshakable confidence, another for peaceful abundance, another for joyful creativity. When you feel yourself slipping into an unwanted state, do not fight it. Simply change the music. Let the sound wash over you and retune your being, just as one tuning fork can cause another to resonate. As you practice entering your desired state, you begin to integrate it into your life. You learn to live from the end. Throughout your day, you ask yourself, how would the person I wish to be handle this situation? How would the successful, abundant, loved version of me respond to this traffic jam? How would they react to this critical email? How would they speak to the cashier at the grocery store? You begin to think from the state, not of the state. It ceases to be something you are trying to reach and becomes the place you are coming from. You act on the assumption that your desire is already a fact, and the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to conform to your assumption. The obstacle oracle appears to test your ability to hold this new state. When the unexpected bill arrives, can you hold the state of abundance? When you are criticized, can you hold the state of self-worth? The obstacle is a pop quiz from the universe. When you can maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when the 3D world shows you the opposite, you have achieved true mastery. You have proven that your inner reality is more real to you than your outer reality. And at that point, the outer reality must, by law, transform. As you truly master the art of choosing and living from your desired state, you discover a profound sense of inner sovereignty. You realize in your bones that the power to feel good, to feel worthy, to feel successful and loved resides entirely within you. It is not dependent on any person, place, or condition. It is your divine birthright. But this inner sovereignty, this kingdom you are building within, will be tested. It will be challenged by the well-meaning and the not-so-well-meaning opinions, beliefs, and judgments of others. To make your state unshakable, to make your kingdom impregnable, you must take the next courageous step in your evolution. You must achieve the ultimate liberation, the liberation from opinion. You have learned to enter the state of your wish fulfilled, to inhabit the reality you choose from within the sacred dressing room of your own mind. You have discovered the master key of creation, the understanding that your inner state is the cause, and your outer world is merely the effect. This is the dawn of your true sovereignty. But as soon as you step onto the stage of life, radiating this new state, you will encounter the greatest and most persistent challenge to your newfound power, the opinions of others. We live within an invisible prison, a cage whose bars are forged from a single pervasive question: what will they think? From our earliest childhood, we are trained to seek approval, to conform to expectations, to measure our worth by the reflection we see in the eyes of others. This is not a personal failing. It is a deep, primal programming. For our tribal ancestors, social exclusion meant certain death. To be cast out from the group was to be left to the wolves. And so, the need for approval became wired into our very DNA as a survival mechanism. But you are not living in a prehistoric tribe, fighting for physical survival. You are a conscious creator, learning to wield the powers of the cosmos. To step into your mastery, you must graduate from this tribal consciousness. You must be willing to walk out of the invisible prison. You must understand that seeking validation from the outside world is the fastest way to give away your creative power. Every time you alter your dream, soften your truth, or change your state to make someone else more comfortable, you are creating a massive leak in your own energetic system. You are taking the focused, potent energy you have cultivated for your creation and diverting it to the exhausting, impossible task of managing the perceptions of others. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot hold the vibrational state of your highest truth while simultaneously seeking the approval of a world that may not understand it. The two frequencies are incompatible. One is the clear, resonant note of your own soul. The other is a chaotic blast of static from 1,000 different opinions. To allow the opinions of others to dictate your inner state is to surrender your power, to hand the keys to your reality over to people who have not done the work you have done, who do not see the vision you see. To be liberated from this prison, you must find a new model for your being. Look to the sun. The sun is a magnificent, self-sustaining, thermonuclear star. Its nature is to radiate light and heat. It shines. It does not send out a survey to the planets first to ask for their opinion. It does not worry that Mercury finds its rays too hot, or that Pluto finds them too faint. It does not withhold its light from a budding flower because a nearby stone complains of the glare. The praise of a sun worshipper does not make it shine brighter, and the curse of a person caught in a drought does not make it shine any less. The sun shines not for the solar system, but because it is the sun. Its shining is a natural consequence of its own being. The planets, the flowers, the very life on this earth are all beneficiaries of a power that is utterly self-contained and indifferent to their approval. You, in your true sovereign nature, are like the sun. Your core is a source of divine light, of creative power, of love. Your purpose is not to endlessly adjust your own brightness based on the opinions of those around you. Your purpose is to shine. Your job is to be so rooted in the truth of your own being, so steadfast in the state you have consciously chosen, that the opinions of the world become as irrelevant to you as they are to the sun. This is not arrogance. It is energetic integrity. It is the understanding that your first and most important duty is to be true to the light within you. The process of liberation is a conscious and courageous one. It begins with identifying who you have given your power to. Whose opinion have you made more important than your own inner knowing? Is it a parent whose approval you have sought your entire life? Is it a partner whose beliefs you have adopted as your own to keep the peace? Is it a social group whose validation you fear losing? Is it the faceless crowd of strangers on the internet? You must look with radical honesty at the people to whom you have handed the keys to your emotional state. Once you have identified them, you must reclaim your power. A powerful practice is to do this energetically. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and enter a state of stillness. In your mind's eye, see yourself standing in your full power, radiant and whole. Now, visualize the people from whom you have been seeking approval. See energetic cords, like ropes or tubes of light, extending from your energy field to theirs. See how your vital life force has been flowing through these cords, feeding their validation of you. With a heart full of love and anger, thank them for the role they have played in your journey. And then, in your imagination, conjure a sword of brilliant, white light. With a firm and loving intention, you sever these cords, one by one. As each cord is cut, visualize its end sealing over on your side with golden light, and feel your power, your attention, your life force flowing back into your own being. You can say, either silently or aloud, I reclaim my power. I am my own source of validation. My state of being is my own creation. This liberation requires you to embrace what might be called creative selfishness. The word selfish has been weaponized to keep us in a state of conformity. But here, it means being a fierce guardian of your inner state. It means being selfish with your vibrational integrity. It means refusing to engage in conversations that drain you. It means declining invitations that feel out of alignment with your chosen state. It means disappointing people, if necessary, in order to remain true to your own inner vision. This is not about being unkind to others. It is about recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot build a new reality if you allow everyone else to siphon off your creative materials. Be prepared. When you stop being a chameleon, when you stop changing your colors to match the expectations of others, some people will not like it. They were comfortable with the version of you that conformed to their reality. Your newfound sovereignty might feel threatening to their own unexamined beliefs. They may criticize you, question you, or try to pull you back into your old patterns. This is a critical test. See this pushback not as a sign that you are wrong, but as a sign that your liberation is working. The discomfort you feel from their disapproval is a temporary withdrawal symptom from a lifelong addiction to approval. Your task is to sit with that discomfort, to breathe through it, and to hold your center, to continue shining, regardless of who is complaining about the light. Each time you choose your own inner state over the opinion of another, you strengthen your sovereignty. Each time you refuse to be pulled into a lower vibration, you fortify the walls of your inner kingdom. You begin to build an unshakable core of self-trust and self-validation. You discover that the feeling of your own authentic alignment is far more satisfying and sustainable than the fleeting, conditional approval of anyone else. As you sever these cords of opinion and reclaim your power, as you learn to shine with the steady, unwavering light of your own truth, a profound and magical shift occurs. You are no longer trying to fit into the world. You are a world unto yourself, a sun in your own right. And you cease your efforts to influence others through argument, persuasion, or control, because you stumble upon a far greater, far more elegant power. You discover the power to create impact simply through your presence. You learn how to change the room simply by walking into it. You learn the subtle art of influence through being, not through doing. As you sever the energetic cords of opinion and anchor your reality in the bedrock of your own inner knowing, you begin to shine with the steady, unwavering light of your truth. You are no longer a reflection of the world around you. You become a source of light within it. And here, a profound and beautiful paradox unfolds. The moment you cease trying to change or influence others, you become more influential than you have ever been. You cease your frantic efforts to persuade, to argue, to control, and you discover a far greater and more elegant power. The power to create impact simply through your presence. You learn the art of influence through being, not through doing. The conventional model of influence is a game of force, an external struggle of the ego. It is the belief that you must change another person's mind through clever arguments, emotional appeals, or even subtle manipulation. It is the parent trying to control their child's career path, the activist shouting at those who disagree, the friend who endlessly gives unsolicited advice. This model is rooted in the assumption that you know what is best for someone else, and that your job is to impose that wisdom upon them. It is an exhausting and deeply flawed approach. It is, once again, the act of trying to push the river. When you push against another person's beliefs and choices, their ego, by its very nature, will push back. You do not create change. You create conflict. You do not inspire. You entrench. True influence operates on a completely different principle. It is not an external act. It is an internal state of being that radiates outward. It is the recognition that the most powerful thing you can offer another person is not your opinion, but the clarity and coherence of your own energy field. Your state of being is a contagion. Your peace is contagious. Your clarity is contagious. Your joy is contagious. People are not influenced by what you say as much as they are influenced by the feeling they get when they are in your presence. They are responding to your resonance. Consider a magnificent lighthouse, standing firm upon a rocky shore. Its purpose is to guide ships through the dark and treacherous waters. How does it accomplish this? It does not have engines to chase down ships that are heading for the rocks. It does not have a thunderous voice to shout commands at every captain. It does not frantically launch lifeboats to personally rescue every sailor from their own navigational errors. To do any of these things would be to abandon its primary, most powerful function. It would be an act of desperate, scattered force. The lighthouse has only one job: to be itself. It stays rooted to its foundation. It tends to its own inner lamp, ensuring its light is bright and clear, and then it simply shines. It revolves, sending its beam out into the darkness, without judgment, without preference, without agenda. The ships at sea, each with their own captain, their own crew, and their own free will, see this steady, reliable light. The light is not a command, it is an offering of pure information. It is a stable point of reference in a world of chaos. The captain of a ship can then use this information to determine their own position, to see the dangers, and to navigate their own course to a safe harbor. The lighthouse influences everything, yet controls nothing. It saves lives not by doing, but by being. You are to become the lighthouse for your world, your family, your workplace, your community. They are the ships at sea. Your old impulse, born of the ego, was to try and be the captain of every single ship, to grab the wheel and correct their course. Your new higher purpose is to simply be the lighthouse. Your work is to anchor yourself in your own truth, to tend to your own inner light, your peace, your joy, your connection to Source, and to make sure it shines brightly and steadily. You simply stand in the integrity of your own being. This is not a passive act, it is an act of profound, active presence. When you walk into a tense meeting or a family argument, the old you might have jumped into the fray, taking sides, adding to the noise. The lighthouse you does not. You enter the room and hold your center. You anchor yourself in your own inner peace. You do not need to say a word. Your calm, non-anxious presence is a beam of light in the stormy, chaotic energy of the room. The other people, agitated and reactive, feel this coherent, peaceful field. Without consciously knowing why, their own nervous systems may begin to calm down. Your peace is a silent permission slip for them to find their own. You have influenced the entire dynamic without a single word of argument. When you pursue your own life's passion with authentic joy, liberated from the opinion of others, you become a lighthouse for those who are lost in careers that are killing their souls. They are not influenced by your level of success, but by the light of your aliveness. They see that it is possible to live with purpose and joy. Your being becomes an inspiration, a point of reference that allows them to question their own course. You did not give them a lecture, you gave them a light. When a friend comes to you in distress, the old you might have rushed to offer solutions, to fix their problem, imposing your own map on their journey. The lighthouse, you simply offers the pure, non-judgmental light of your presence. You listen deeply. You hold a safe space, free of your own agenda. In this clear, accepting space, they are able to see their own situation more clearly. They hear their own inner wisdom, the voice of their own captain, which was previously drowned out by their panic. You have guided them perfectly by doing nothing but holding your light steady. This is the ultimate secret of conscious relationships: to release everyone you know from the obligation to be what you think they should be, to love them enough to allow them their own journey, their own mistakes, and their own timing. You stop trying to save everyone and focus only on tending your light. And in a beautiful paradox, you end up helping more people than you ever could with your frantic, forceful efforts. You let them be sovereign beings. and in doing so, you demonstrate what true sovereignty looks like. This silent, powerful radiation of your inner state is your greatest creative act and your most profound form of influence. But understand this crucial law. The energy you broadcast, the light you shine, does not dissipate into nothingness. It is a cause set in motion, and every cause in this universe creates a corresponding effect. The quality of the energy you send out into the world, be it peace, judgment, anger, or grace, is a vibrational signal that will, by law, find its way back to you. The universe operates on a flawless system of energetic feedback, ensuring that what you send out is ultimately what you experience. To become a true master of your reality, to become a truly effective lighthouse, you must understand this great, impersonal, and deeply misunderstood law. You must understand the nature of karma, not as a system of cosmic punishment, but as a perfect mirror of feedback. The silent, powerful radiation of your inner state is your greatest creative act, your most profound form of influence. But this energy, the light you shine from your lighthouse, does not simply vanish into the ether. It is a cause, and every cause in this interconnected cosmos gives rise to an effect. The universe operates on a flawless and impersonal law of energetic return, a principle that ensures what you broadcast is ultimately what you receive. This principle has been given a name that, for many, is heavy with baggage, fear, and misunderstanding. That name is karma. Before we proceed, we must strip this powerful word of the centuries of superstition and fear that have been projected upon it. The popular conception of karma is that of a cosmic police force, a divine accountant in the sky, keeping a meticulous tally of your good and bad deeds. In this view, karma is a system of reward and punishment, a promise of future retribution for past sins. A person experiences hardship, and we whisper, "It must be their bad karma." This interpretation, born of the human ego's need for morality plays and cosmic justice, is a profound distortion of a beautiful, elegant, and empowering natural law. Let us wipe the slate clean. Karma is not a system of punishment. The universe does not punish. Punishment is a human concept, rooted in anger and retribution. The universe operates not on anger, but on mathematics, not on morality, but on physics. Karma is the supreme and simple law of energetic reflection. It is a perfect, non-judgmental feedback mechanism designed to teach you, with flawless accuracy, about the nature of the energy you are emitting. It is not a judge, it is a mirror. It is not a sentence, it is a reflection. Its sole purpose is not to punish you for your broadcast, but to show you what your broadcast is. To truly understand its impersonal nature, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast, silent canyon. The canyon is the universe immense, ancient, and utterly impartial. You decide to shout into the canyon. The sound of your voice, the words you choose, the emotion behind them, this is the cause you are setting in motion. This is your karmic output. You take a deep breath and shout with anger and frustration, "I hate you." What happens next? A few moments later, the echo returns. What does the echo say? Does it say, "You are a bad person for shouting that"? Number? Does it say, "I will now punish you for your negativity"? Number. The echo is a perfect, identical reflection of the original sound. It returns to you, with flawless fidelity, the words, "I hate you." The canyon did not judge your shout. It did not get its feelings hurt. It simply performed its natural function, to reflect sound. It is a law of acoustics. Now, imagine you take another breath, but this time you fill your heart with love and gratitude, and you shout, "I love you." What does the canyon's echo return? It returns, with the same perfect, impersonal fidelity, the sound, "I love you." The canyon is not rewarding you. It is not showing you favoritism. It is simply reflecting the energy it was given. This is the law of karma. The universe is the canyon. Your every thought, word, and deed is a shout into this canyon. The circumstances and events of your life are the echo. If your life is echoing back experiences of conflict, betrayal, and struggle, it is not because the universe is angry with you. It is simply showing you, with loving and compassionate accuracy, the quality of the shout you are sending out. The so-called bad karma is nothing more than a clear echo telling you, this is the sound you are making. If you do not like the echo, you must change the shout. This law operates on several levels of subtlety and power. The most obvious is the karma of deed. This is the Newtonian level of action and reaction. You perform an act of kindness for a stranger, and a week later, another stranger performs an unexpected kind act for you. You deceive someone in business, and you soon find yourself the victim of a deceitful transaction. This level is straightforward. The energy of the action creates a ripple that eventually finds its way back. More subtle and more powerful is the karma of word. As we have discussed, your words are vibrational commands. When you habitually speak words of harsh judgment or gossip about others, you are shouting judgment into the canyon. The echo that returns is a life where you feel constantly judged and criticized by others. You will attract people and situations that mirror your own linguistic patterns. Conversely, if you make a practice of speaking words of encouragement, praise, and compassion, the echo that returns is a life where you feel supported, appreciated, and understood. But the deepest, most powerful, and most often overlooked level is the karma of thought and state. Your habitual inner world, your dominant state of being, is the constant, low-humming shout you are broadcasting 24 hours a day. This is why sometimes we see good people who perform kind deeds, yet seem to experience constant hardship. While their actions may be good, their inner state, the dominant shout, may be one of chronic worry, resentment, or a deep-seated feeling of victimhood. The universe, which responds to the dominant frequency, must by law reflect this inner state back to them. Their shout of, "I am a victim," is more powerful and consistent than their occasional shout of, "Here is a kind deed." Likewise, you may see people who seem less than virtuous, yet everything seems to go their way. Often, these individuals possess an unshakable, even arrogant, inner state of belief in their own success and deservingness. Their dominant shout is, "Everything works out for me," and so the canyon of the universe faithfully echoes that reality back to them, regardless of their other actions. The ultimate goal of a master is to align all three levels, to think and feel a state of peace and love, to speak words that are in harmony with that state, and to perform actions that are a natural extension of it. When your thought, word, and deed are all part of the same beautiful, coherent shout, the echo that returns is a life of grace, flow, and miracles. Understanding this principle is the key to ultimate liberation and self-responsibility. It completely eliminates the concept of blame. You can no longer blame your parents, your society, the government, or a punishing God for the circumstances of your life. They are just a part of the echo. An echo cannot be blamed for the sound of the original shout. The power resides, and has always resided, with you, the shouter. This is not cause for guilt, but for empowerment. If you do not like the life you are experiencing, you do not have to fight the echo. That is futile. You simply have to change the shout. You have the power, in this very moment, to change the entire karmic pattern of your life by choosing a new state, a new thought, a new word. In our current era of accelerated consciousness, you may have noticed that the time between the shout and the echo is shrinking. In the past, the karmic return might have taken lifetimes. Now, you might think a judgmental thought in the morning and experience a judgment from someone else in the afternoon. This is not a curse. It is a gift. The universe is providing us with instant feedback, allowing us to learn our lessons, see our patterns, and adjust our frequency more quickly than ever before. This understanding of karma as a perfect, impersonal echo is liberating. It hands you the creative power to change your life by consciously changing your broadcast. But a question remains. What of the echoes that are already in motion? What of the shouts of anger from a decade ago? The fears of childhood? the resentments from a past relationship that we still carry in our hearts. These old broadcasts are still reverberating in the canyon, and their echoes are still returning to us today as unwanted patterns and circumstances. We cannot outrun them, and we cannot fight them. We must dissolve them at their source. We must silence the original, painful shout. This requires more than just a new intention. It requires an act of profound spiritual alchemy, a process that has the power to neutralize the most toxic energies and wipe the karmic slate clean. This is the potent, liberating magic of forgiveness. Understanding karma as a perfect, impersonal echo is liberating. It places the power to shape your life directly into your hands by giving you the simple instruction. If you do not like the echo, change the shout. But as you stand in the canyon of your present moment, you may notice echoes from shouts you made long ago. The cries of past hurts, the shouts of anger from a betrayal, the bitter whispers of resentment. These old broadcasts are still reverberating, returning to you as recurring patterns of pain and frustration in your life today. You cannot outrun these echoes. You cannot shout over them. They must be dissolved at their source. This requires an act of profound spiritual alchemy, a process that can neutralize the most toxic energies and wipe the karmic slate clean. This is the potent, liberating magic of forgiveness. Like the word karma, the word forgiveness is heavy with misunderstanding. We often see it as a moral duty, a heavy obligation, or an act of weakness. We believe that to forgive someone is to condone their behavior, to say that what they did was acceptable. We believe it means we must forget the pain, trust them again, or allow them back into our lives. And because this feels impossible or unwise, we refuse. We hold on to our grievance, our resentment, our righteous anger, believing it is a shield that protects us, or a weapon that punishes the one who hurt us. But this is a profound illusion. The refusal to forgive is a prison, and the only person it holds captive is you. The resentment you carry is a karmic chain that binds you, not to the other person, but to the low, painful vibration of the event itself. By holding on to the energy of the betrayal, you are choosing to continuously shout, "I was betrayed," into the canyon, and the universe, in its perfect, impersonal way, must keep sending you the ecomore experiences that make you feel the sting of betrayal. To be free of the echo, you must silence the original shout. Forgiveness is the act of silencing that shout. Let us be clear about what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not saying, "What you did was okay." It is not condoning harmful behavior. You can forgive someone completely and still choose to never see them again. Forgiveness is not forgetting. The memory may always remain, but forgiveness is the alchemy that drains the memory of its painful emotional charge. It turns a throbbing, open wound into a clean silver scara testament to a battle you fought and survived, but one that no longer causes you daily pain. And forgiveness is not a heavy moral duty you perform for the sake of the other person. They may never know you have forgiven them. It has nothing to do with them. Forgiveness is a fierce and radical act of self-love. It is something you do for yourself because you are no longer willing to poison your own present moment with the pain of the past. Imagine you are sitting by a fire and someone uses a pair of tongs to place a burning red-hot coal in your hand. The pain is immense, searing. Now, imagine the person who did this walks away. You are left sitting there, the hot coal burning through your flesh, causing you agony. Your intention is to wait for that person to return so you can throw the coal at them and make them feel the pain they caused you. So you wait. Minutes, hours, days, years pass. While you are waiting, whose hand is being burned? Whose body is racked with the pain? Whose life is consumed by the all-encompassing agony of holding this fire? It is yours, and yours alone. The other person may be living their life, completely unaware of your suffering. Resentment, bitterness, and the refusal to forgive are this hot coal. To hold on to them is to choose to burn yourself over and over again with the fire of a past event. Forgiveness is the simple, profoundly intelligent, self-loving act of opening your hand and letting the coal drop. The moment you do, the burning stops. The healing can begin. It is not for them. It is for you. It is you deciding, I am no longer willing to be burned by this. So how do we perform this alchemy? How do we open a hand that has been clenched shut for so long? It is a process, one that requires courage and gentleness. The first step is to fully acknowledge your pain. You cannot heal a wound by pretending it doesn't exist. Give yourself permission to feel the anger, the sadness, the sense of injustice. Write it all down in a letter you never send. Speak it aloud in an empty room. Cry the tears that need to be shed. You must honor your pain and give it a voice before you can release it. You cannot let go of something you have not first fully grasped. The second step is to begin the subtle shift of perspective. Look at the person or situation through the lens of the oracle. Ask yourself, what was this painful event meant to teach me? Did it force me to develop a strength I never knew I had? Did it reveal a hidden belief in my own unworthiness that was blocking my path? Did it help me clarify what I truly want and deserve in my life? When you can begin to see the person who hurt you not as a villain, but as an unconscious catalyst for your own growth, a karmic teacher playing a difficult role in your soul's curriculums, to the hard edges of anger begin to soften. You start to see the event not as a random tragedy, but as a purposeful, albeit painful, part of your journey of awakening. The third step is the ritual of release itself. This is an act of spiritual intention. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Bring the person or situation to mind. Allow yourself to feel the last echoes of the pain. And then, from your heart, you make a conscious choice. You say, either silently or aloud, I acknowledge the pain this caused me. I acknowledge the lessons I have learned from it. And now, for the sake of my own peace, for the sake of my own freedom, I release you. I release myself from the energetic bond of this memory. I let go of the debt I thought you owed me. I set myself free. Visualize an energetic cord connecting you to that painful memory, and with a sword of light or a pair of golden scissors, see yourself cutting that cord. Feel the immense lightness as the heavy energy of the past falls away. Feel the clean, fresh energy of the present moment rush in to fill the space. The final and often most crucial step in this process is to forgive yourself. We often hold on to anger at others because we are truly angry with ourselves. Angry for not seeing the signs, for not speaking up sooner, for trusting someone who was not trustworthy, for staying in a situation long after we knew we should have left. You must extend the same grace to your past self that you are extending to others. Understand this. At every moment in your past, you were doing the very best you could with the level of consciousness, awareness, and resources you had at the time. If you could have done better, you would have. Forgive your past self for their perceived mistakes. Thank them for getting you here, for helping you survive. Embrace them with the compassion of a loving parent. Self-forgiveness is the final turn of the key that unlocks the prison door. The act of forgiveness is the great purification. It is the spiritual alchemy that turns the heavy lead of past pain into the radiant gold of present peace. It silences the old, painful echoes of hurt and creates a profound and beautiful stillness in the canyon of your being. Into this new, clean, silent space, a new energy can now be invited. Once the soil of your consciousness has been cleared of the bitter weeds of resentment, it is ready to be enriched and made fertile. You are now ready to cultivate the single most powerful, high-frequency creative force in the universe, the force of gratitude. The sacred act of forgiveness is the great purification. It is the spiritual alchemy that turns the lead of past pain into the gold of present peace. It silences the old echoes of hurt and creates a profound and beautiful stillness in the canyon of your being. This stillness is a fertile void, a clean slate, a garden cleared of its bitter weeds. Into this newly prepared space, A new and powerful energy can now be invited. We are now ready to cultivate the single most powerful creative force in the known universe, the force of gratitude. We are taught to think of gratitude as a polite afterthought, a simple thank you offered after we have received something we want. We see it as the caboose at the end of the train of manifestation. This is a complete reversal of the creative law. Gratitude is not the caboose, it is the engine. It is not the effect, it is the cause. It is not something you feel after your world changes. It is the force that changes your world. To understand this, we must compare the energy of gratitude with the energy of wanting. The state of wanting, of desperate longing, is a powerful declaration to the universe. It is a shout into the canyon that says, "I do not have. I am in a state of lack." The universe, as a perfect and impersonal mirror, hears this broadcast of not having and faithfully echoes back to you a reality in which you continue to not have. It is a self-perpetuating cycle of lack. Gratitude is the direct antidote. It is a powerful, present-tense declaration that says the opposite. True gratitude is a shout into the canyon that says, "I already have. I am already blessed. I am already whole. I am already provided for." When the universe hears this resonant, high-frequency broadcast of having, it must, by law, echo back to you a reality filled with more things to have, more reasons to feel blessed, more evidence of your wholeness. You have shifted from the frequency of lack to the frequency of abundance. The flawed logic that keeps so many people trapped is the logic of if-then. If I get the new job, then I will be grateful. If I find a partner, then I will feel love and gratitude. The conscious creator understands that this must be reversed. The true formula is because, therefore. Because I am grateful for the skills I already possess, therefore the perfect job is drawn to me. Because I feel a deep gratitude for the love that already exists in my life from friends, from family, from myself. Therefore, a romantic partner who reflects that love is drawn to me. Gratitude is the cause. The manifestation is the effect. Let us return to the garden of your mind. Through forgiveness, you have painstakingly pulled the weeds of resentment and bitterness. The soil is now clean, but it is neutral. Gratitude is the divine fertilizer. It is a rich, golden, life-giving compost that you consciously work into the soil of your consciousness. Its purpose is to enrich your entire being, to make your inner ground fertile and receptive. Now, when you plant a seed of intention, your desire for a new reality into this gratitude-rich soil, what happens is miraculous. The seed finds itself in the most nourishing environment possible. It germinates faster, its roots sink deeper and find purchase more easily. The stalk that grows is stronger, the leaves are greener, and the fruit it eventually bears is sweeter and more abundant than you could have imagined. An intention planted in a barren soil of complaint and lack will struggle to survive. The very same intention, planted in the fertile ground of a grateful heart, is destined for a magnificent harvest. Gratitude does not just prepare the ground for future good, it also amplifies the good that is already present. When you exist in a state of complaint, your focus is on the weeds. You can be standing in a garden with 100 beautiful blooming flowers, but your attention is so fixed on the few patches of crabgrass that you declare the entire garden a failure. Gratitude shifts your focus. It compels you to turn your attention to the roses, to the sunflowers, to the vibrant life that is already there. As you place your attention on these flowers, you begin to truly see and appreciate them, and they seem to bloom even more brightly. You realize your garden was far more beautiful than you thought. This shift in perception alone can transform your experience of life even before anything new manifests. So how do we cultivate this powerful state, especially when our circumstances seem to offer little to be grateful for? The ego will protest. Be grateful? For what? My life is a mess. This is where the practice must begin, with radical simplicity. You must bypass the ego's grand arguments by starting with that which is simple, immediate, and undeniable. Can you, in this very moment, feel a sense of gratitude for the breath that is entering and leaving your lungs without any conscious effort from you? This breath has sustained you every moment of your life. It is a profound gift. Can you feel a flicker of appreciation for the heart that is tirelessly beating in your chest, pumping life through your body? Can you be grateful for the simple chair that is supporting your weight, preventing you from collapsing to the floor? Can you be grateful for the sense of sight that is allowing you to see these words, or the sense of hearing that is allowing you to hear them? Start here. Start with the body. Start with the immediate environment. Do not try to force a feeling of gratitude for big things you do not feel grateful for. That will only create more resistance. Begin with the small, the mundane, the overlooked. From this small seed of appreciation, a great tree can grow. A simple and powerful practice is the rampage of appreciation. Start with one small thing you genuinely appreciate. I am so grateful for this warm cup of tea. Then, let the momentum build. Allow your mind to follow the chain of gratitude. And I am grateful that I have clean water to make this tea with. I am grateful for the hands that grew and harvested these tea leaves. I am grateful for the electricity that boiled the water so effortlessly. I am grateful for my favorite cup that feels so good in my hands. I am grateful for this quiet moment of peace to simply sit and drink it. In a matter of seconds, you have moved from a single point of gratitude to a broad feeling of being blessed and provided for. This trains your brain to actively seek out the good, creating a positive feedback loop that makes it easier and easier to enter a grateful state. As you become more practiced, you can expand your gratitude beyond the tangible. You can feel gratitude for lessons learned, even painful ones. You can feel gratitude for the strength a past challenge forged in you. And in a truly advanced practice, you can begin to feel gratitude for your desires as if they have already been fulfilled. This is a profound act of faith that turbocharges the creative process. To say, "Thank you for the perfect solution that has already been orchestrated for my problem," is to align yourself completely with the reality of its existence. You are tuning your radio to the station where your good has already arrived. Remember, gratitude is not an intellectual exercise of listing things in your head. It is a visceral, emotional, and physical experience. It is a feeling. When you think of something you are truly grateful for, a person, a pet, a memory, a place, pause and locate the feeling in your body. It is often a warmth, an expansion, a sense of opening in your chest or your heart center. The practice is to become so familiar with this feeling that you can generate it at will without needing an external trigger. This feeling, this warm, golden, expansive energy, is the fertilizer. It is the creative force. As this warm energy of gratitude becomes your dominant state of being, you will discover that your worries about the future and your regrets about the past begin to fade. Gratitude, by its very nature, is a practice of presence. It anchors you firmly in the only point of time where life is actually lived, the present moment. It pulls your scattered attention from the illusions of what was and what might be, and focuses it with laser-like precision on the tangible reality of what is. Through the golden portal of gratitude, you step out of the frantic dream of time and into the magnificent, power-filled reality of the eternal now. As the warm, golden energy of gratitude becomes your dominant state of being, you discover a beautiful side effect. Your anxieties about the future and your laments for the past begin to lose their power. Gratitude, by its very nature, is a practice of presence. It anchors you to the tangible good that exists right here. It pulls your scattered consciousness from the phantom worlds of memory and projection and focuses it with gentle power into the only point in time where life is ever truly lived. Through this golden portal of gratitude, you are invited to step out of the dream of time and awaken to the raw, vibrant, and creative power of the eternal now. We live in a state of perpetual escape from the present moment. The human mind is a time machine, and we are its chronic, compulsive passengers. Our bodies exist in the now, but our consciousness is almost always somewhere else. We are either lost in the labyrinth of the pastry playing old conversations, nursing ancient grievances, basking in the fading glow of former glories, or we are rehearsing for a future that does not exist, riddled with anxiety about what might go wrong, or lost in fantasies of a salvation that is always just around the corner. We live our lives in a ghost world, a reality constructed entirely of thought, and we wonder why we feel so disconnected, so powerless, so fundamentally unreal. The greatest secret of all conscious creation is this: the now. This present moment is not just one moment among many. It is the only moment there ever is. The past is a memory trace in your mind, a story you tell yourself. It has no power over you unless you give it your present moment attention. The future is a mental projection, an act of imagination. It has no reality. Life is not a journey from a real past to a real future. Life is an eternal now, a timeless stage upon which the concepts of past and future appear and disappear like clouds in the sky. All of your power, all of your creativity, all of your life exists only and always in this one magnificent, all-encompassing moment. The ego, the small, constructed self, is terrified of the now. The ego's entire identity is built upon the story of time. It defines itself by its past, its wounds, its achievements, its victimhood. And it fuels itself with the promise of the future, the time when it will finally be happy, finally be complete, finally be saved. In the simple, profound stillness of the present moment, the ego's stories cannot survive. In the now, there is no problem to be solved, no narrative of lack to be spun. There is only what is. And so the ego does everything in its power to pull you away from the now, back into the familiar, dramatic, and ultimately illusory playground of psychological time. To awaken is to cease this frantic escape, to understand how to live in this power. Imagine you are driving a car on a moonless night. The journey ahead of you is long, and the darkness outside is absolute. You cannot see your final destination. You cannot even see the turn in the road a mile ahead. This is your life. The darkness behind is the past, gone forever. The darkness ahead is the future, utterly unknown. All you have is the beam of your headlights. These headlights illuminate a small patch of road directly in front of you, perhaps 50 or 100 feet. The anxious driver, the one who lives in fear and thought, despises this limitation. They strain their eyes, trying to pierce the impenetrable darkness beyond the headlight's beam. They worry about potholes that might exist a mile down the road, about turns they cannot yet see. Their attention is on the vast, unknown darkness, not on the road they are actually driving on. They are paralyzed by what they cannot see, and their driving is erratic and unsafe. The wise driver, the one who lives in the now, has a completely different relationship with the night. They accept the limitation of their headlights. They understand that the illuminated patch of road is all they need to focus on. They give their full, undivided attention to navigating this one, small, manageable section of the journey. They respond to the curve they are in, not the one they imagine is coming. And here is the magic. By continuously and skillfully handling the 50 feet of road they can see, they can successfully travel 1,000 miles. The entire journey is accomplished by being fully present in a series of small, illuminated now moments. The present moment is your headlight's beam. It is the only place you have any real agency, any real power. To bring your attention fully into the now is to stop worrying about the road you cannot see, and to give your full, loving, creative power to the only part of the journey that is actually real. Let us enter this illuminated space together. This is not a concept to be understood with the mind. It is a reality to be felt with your entire being. Wherever you are, bring your awareness to the sounds around you, not just labeling them the sound of a fan, the sound of traffic, but hearing them as pure vibration. Can you hear the silence that exists underneath and between all the sounds? That silence is the canvas of the now. Now, allow your eyes to rest upon an object in front of you. A plant, a cup, your own hand. Look at it as if you have never seen it before. Release the mental label and simply see. See the play of light and shadow, the subtle variations in color, the intricate details of its texture. In this state of pure seeing, your mind grows quiet. You are present. Bring your awareness into your body. Feel the points of contact between your body and the chair or the floor. Feel the subtle sensation of the air on your skin. Can you feel the subtle field of energy that is alive inside your hands? Wiggle your toes inside your shoes and feel the sensation. Your body is always in the present moment. It is your most faithful anchor to the now. To be in your body is to be here, now. Finally, return to the anchor of your breath. Feel the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then being released. The breath is always now. There is no past breath or future breath. There is only this breath. Rest here. In this simple, profound awareness of your senses and your body, the frantic time-traveling mind naturally comes to a halt. The ghost worlds of past and future dissolve. And what is left? Only this, only now. This peace, this stillness. This is your true nature. This is your point of power. When you live from this place of presence, your entire life transforms. The problems that once plagued you are revealed to be mostly mental fictions. A problem is a story the mind tells about a situation, a story that requires the past for its grievance and the future for its resolution. In the now, there is no problem. There is only the situation itself, which you can either deal with, accept, or remove yourself from. By withdrawing the energy of your mental drama, the situation often dissolves or resolves itself with surprising ease. Your intuition awakens in the now. The whispers of inspired action, the guidance from your higher self, can only be heard in the silence of the present moment. They are drowned out by the noise of psychological time. When you are fully present, you are a clear and open channel for divine wisdom and creativity to flow through you. Your relationships heal. When you are truly present with another person, you are not interacting with your memory of them or with your projections of who you want them to be. You meet them as they are in this moment. You truly listen. You truly see them. This quality of attention is the greatest gift you can give another human being, and it is the foundation of all true connection and love. As you practice anchoring yourself more and more deeply in the eternal, now a final, profound realization begins to dawn. You begin to see that your sense of being a separate Mia, small, isolated person with a personal history and an anxious future is also a construction of thought. It is a story woven from the threads of time. In the deep stillness of presence, in the absence of thought, that sense of a separate self becomes transparent. The boundary between you, the observer, and the universe, the observed, begins to dissolve. The lighthouse realizes it is not just a structure built upon the rock. It is an expression of the rock, an extension of the earth itself. You begin to sense that you are not a small drop of water in the ocean, but something far more vast. You begin to feel that you are the entire ocean, expressing itself for a time as a single wave. The desire to have an impact on the world gives way to the stunning realization that you are the world you are trying to impact. This is the final step in the journey of creation. To cease all striving, all effort, all desire to change anything, and to simply, magnificently, become. As you anchor your consciousness in the eternal, now, the very architecture of your identity begins to shift. The story of Mitha, separate, striving person with a past to heal and a future to secure, loses its gravitational pull. In the profound stillness of presence, you begin to sense a deeper truth, a truth that lies beyond the limits of the small self. You start to see that you are not just a tiny, isolated consciousness trying to influence a vast, external universe. You are an expression of that universe. The lifelong effort to create an impact on the world gives way to the stunning, liberating realization that you are the impact. This is the final step in the journey. It is the destination that was here all along. It is the art of simply becoming. Let us look back for a moment from this new vantage point. The journey began with the illusion of force. You saw yourself as a small figure separate from a great river trying to push its current. Now, from this place of unity, you see the truth. You are not the pusher. You are not even the navigator of the boat. You are the river. The force you were fighting was your own imagined separation from your true nature. You learned about the power of resonance, seeing yourself as a single tuning fork trying to attract other resonant experiences. From here, you see that you are not one instrument in the orchestra. You are the symphony itself. Every note, every vibration, every instrument is a part of your own boundless being, playing out a magnificent cosmic composition. You saw yourself as the archer, gathering your intention, aiming at a distant target, and releasing the arrow in an act of surrender. It was a beautiful and necessary metaphor for a separate self-learning to trust a higher power. But from this ultimate perspective, you realize the final truth. You are the archer, you are the bow, you are the arrow in its flight, and you are the target it seeks. It is a divine game you are playing with yourself, a dance of creation and experience for the sheer joy of it. All the techniques we have explored the stillness, the attention, the beliefs, the words, the surrender were not tools for a separate self to manipulate reality. They were training wheels. They were a sacred curriculum designed to do one thing: to quiet the noisy, striving ego long enough for you to recognize what you have always been. They were fingers pointing at the moon. Now you see the moon itself, and you no longer need the finger. To truly feel this, embrace this final metaphor. Imagine you are a single wave in the middle of a vast ocean. From the perspective of the wave, you have a beginning and an end. You are born from the mysterious depths. You rise to a certain height. You develop a unique shape and character. You travel for a while, and you see ahead of you the shore where you will inevitably crash and cease to be. As a wave, you might worry. Are you as big as the other waves? Are you moving fast enough? You fear the rocks. You fear your own dissolution. This is the life of the ego, the separate self. It is a life defined by comparison, by striving, and by the fear of its own end. Now, in a moment of perfect, present moment stillness, the wave ceases to think of itself as a wave. It simply feels its own substance. And it realizes, with a sudden, shocking clarity, that its substance is not wave stuff. Its substance is water. It feels its connection to the wave next to it and realizes it is made of the same water. It feels its connection to the unfathomable depths beneath it and realizes it is one with the entire body of the ocean. In that moment, the wave awakens. It realizes, I am not just a wave, I am the entire ocean, expressing itself for a time as a wave. All fear vanishes. How can the ocean fear the shore? The shore is simply another part of itself. How can the ocean die? It is the very source of life. How can it be separate from other waves? They are all expressions of the same one ocean. The struggle ceases. The fear dissolves. All that is left is the joyful, rhythmic, powerful dance of the ocean being itself. This is the state of becoming the impact. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. Your personality, your body, your name, your story, these are the temporary, beautiful, unique characteristics of the wave. But your true identity, your consciousness, your fundamental self, is the entire, boundless, eternal ocean of being. When this realization dawns, the very mechanism of creation changes. There is no longer a creator and a creation. The duality collapses. There is no longer a separate you who is trying to have an impact on a separate world. You and the world are revealed to be a single, unified process. You stop trying to live your life, and you allow life to live itself through you. Your desires no longer arise from the ego's sense of lack. Instead, Intentions simply arise from the universe's own impulse to create, to experience, to know itself through your unique form. The inspired actions you take are no longer subtle nudges you must listen for. They are the natural, spontaneous, and effortless movements of the whole. This is the state of effortless manifestation. You no longer need to meticulously apply the techniques because you have become the principle behind them. You do not have to work to raise your vibration because you are anchored in the high-frequency truth of your own oceanic being. You do not have to struggle to feel abundance. You know yourself to be the source of all abundance. Manifestation becomes a natural byproduct of your presence, not a goal to be achieved. A rose does not try to emit the fragrance of a rose. It simply is a rose, and the fragrance is the effortless impact of its being. The sun does not try to radiate warmth and light. It is a sun, and the warmth and light are the natural impact of its existence. You do not try to have an impact. You simply are, and your authentic being becomes the most powerful, positive, and transformative impact you could possibly have on the world. You are no longer the lighthouse, separate on the shore, shining a light for the ships. You are the light itself, and you are the sea, and you are the ships. You are the entire dynamic. You have returned home to the truth of what you have always been. You have not gained anything new. You have simply shed all the illusions that told you that you were anything less than the whole. You are the creator, the creation, and the creative process itself, folded into one magnificent, conscious being. This is not an end. It is the true beginning. It is the beginning of a life lived not from the head, but from the heart. Not from a place of fear, but from a place of profound, unshakable love. A life where you no longer strive, but simply are. A life where you are no longer a victim of your world, but the silent, benevolent source of it. Let us now gather these truths into a final, simple remembrance. And so, we arrive, not at an end, but at the beginning. The journey through these words has been a journey inward, a peeling away of the layers of illusion to reveal the simple, magnificent truth that has been waiting patiently at your center. We have traveled far, from the noisy world of force and effort to the silent, creative stillness of your own being. Let us gather these truths now, not as complex ideas to be remembered, but as a simple feeling to be carried. Imagine your life as two potential paths, symbolized by the posture of your own hand. The first path is that of the clenched fist. It is the path of struggle, of control, of holding on so tightly to what you have, and striving so hard for what you do not. It is a path of tension, of exhaustion, of a life lived in resistance to the natural flow of the river. It is the belief that you are a small, separate self who must fight for your place in the world. The second path is that of the open palm. It is a posture of release, of trust, of allowing. The open palm does not grasp or control. It receives. It does not fight. It invites. It does not hold on to the past. It is open to the gifts of the present moment. This is not a posture of weakness. It is a posture of profound power, a quiet declaration that you trust the universe, that you are a part of its flow, not an enemy to it. In its emptiness, it has the capacity to hold everything. This is the entire teaching, to move from the clenched fist to the open palm, to cease the struggle and to embrace the dance, to stop pushing the river and to become the river itself. Carry with you this simple remembrance, this mantra for a life of subtle, powerful impact. Let it be the quiet whisper beneath all your thoughts and actions. Breathe in and know, I do not force, I align. Breathe out and feel, I do not strive, I allow. And in the stillness of your heart, remember the ultimate truth. My being is my power. There is nothing else you need to do. There is nothing you need to become. You are already whole. You are already the source. You are already the light you have been seeking. Go now into the world, not as a warrior striving for victory, but as a sun that cannot help but shine. Carry this peace, this stillness, this knowing in your heart. Let it be the silent music to which you live your life. And now, you begin.